All right, everybody, welcome back to the Sporting Chance podcast. Be sure to check out sportingchancepod.com for all your flyest new Sporting Chance pod merch. If you're anything like me, you struggled for a while trying to find a source for performance canines. Well, look no further. Check out Clover Creek Canine on Facebook for your performance canine needs. For your East Coast and micro hawking needs, hit up mountainstatefalconrysupply.com. If you want to be cool like me this hunting season and fly a parent-reared goshawk, there's virtually no other source but our boy Seth Roy. Go to northmountaingoshawks.com to put your deposit down on next year's hunting partner. And while you're at it, go ahead and put an order in with the king of tight, Richard Moats, maker of the tightest braided equipment at midnightfalconry.com. All right, Chris Starr, welcome to the Sporting Chance podcast. He's asking to be referred to as his Skyness because he's hot on the heels of his victory at the Sky Trials.
First place, baby.
First
Reigning,
place.
defending.
Let's just get right into
champion.
that, bro. I don't know much about the Sky Trials other than that it takes place. So just pretend like we know absolutely nothing about it and educate us on the Sky Trials.
Sure. So it originally started like 50 or some years ago, where this falconer, I think his name was like Greg or George or something. Anyway, it was just the 50th anniversary this last year. And this pigeon guy, we're having like some light beef, and they were like, I bet that my pigeon could beat your best falcon, and I bet my falcon could beat your pigeon. And so it started out with the name of the Pigeon Derby, where they put their falcons up and they throw pigeons. And now eventually it was like, hey, people started talking. I kind of want to get a piece of this. And then now Utah and California both have these annual Sky Trials that are held. And then they started like having criteria basically for places. And I think that we're probably, so let me see, the Utah one is like 50 years old now. And the California one's probably not that much younger, maybe 40 some years.
And you won the Utah one?
No. So I won the California one. I'm out here in Cali. But people are like, Utah one was like 2 weeks later, and they're like, dude, go and enter. Go, you should go. I'm like, I don't know. Because this was my first time entering. It was like clean sweep, right? Just like one shot, one kill kind of a thing. But I was like, I don't really know. And dude, what's crazy? It was even though it was the 50th anniversary, it was a good year to not enter. So they have, are you guys race fans at all?
No.
Oh,
No?
Like race cars?
Casey's a racist.
I knew it like that. I knew it.
What's your favorite race? No. The Indy 500. No.
Casey's definitely white for Casey. That's Casey's favorite.
Gosh.
False.
Wild,
False.
bro. That's wild. Well, so not so much like a race, but so the Utah one has like semifinals and then finals, right? And so they did the semifinals one day, finals the next day, which is kind of interesting. I don't know. They had the semis, and then the next day, the morning of the finals, the pigeon guy bailed. And he's like, nope, not flying my pigeons this day. So they just didn't have it the next day. And like
Why,
hundreds of people show up to watch this thing.
Why didn't he show up?
Supposedly the weather was too bad, and he was like worried that not enough of his pigeons would come back or something along those lines.
Bro.
I know.
Fired. Never again. You're not invited ever again. Nobody had homers with them, like good flying homers. Like, I don't understand.
The thing is, you need so many. Like you have to have a ton. But that is a valid question. I didn't bring any homers like out to the California Hawking Club meet itself. I just brought commies.
like Russians.
That is short. Yeah, short for communist, which is our slang term for just wild trapped pigeons, feral pigeons. We call them commies. It's just
That's funny.
Playing. Yeah. I just had those. But to your point, a lot of people do actually bring a bunch of homers. Interestingly enough. So you would think, what? But
So
maybe
what do you
they
have
would
to
have
do
been
to
like,
win?
what do you have to do to win? So there is a bunch of criteria. Because I won, I keep this and I look at it every morning in my bathroom. But so this is just like before signing up, and then it also has a bunch of judging criteria. So basically, how it works is you start out with max points, and then how they judge is basically through deduction, right? Like, yeah. So you start with, let me see, 20, 40, 50, 70, 90, 5. And then they deduct from that 95. So mounting, which is basically how your bird mounts up, like how well does it build pitch, right? And it's built off like how quickly it gets to a certain height. Now there's a minimum height, which is 500 feet. Every bird is fitted with like a Marshall GPS tracker that only the judges have access to, right? As well as the participant. When you go out, there's another judge there. He holds on to the pigeons and he throws the pigeons. And with him, he has a small iPad that's barking out how high it's going, right? So that you can tell. You can be told, right? 200 feet, 300 feet, right? And it'll tell you position, where your bird stays above you. Does it stay above you? Does it leave? A lot of birds leave, right? So that's the main thing. Falcon should mount in a cone above the falconer, right? And that's one of them. Pitch, so that is how high the bird actually goes, right? So it's a minimum of 500 feet. And then you get like points for like everything beyond that, you know? The stoop, which is when the participant says, okay, throw. Then the other judge throws the birds, and it's judged off of how the bird comes down in and stoops, which is like a diving mechanism to go at maximum speed to theoretically catch and kill the pigeon, right? That's how they attack their prey. Basically, so the speed of the stoop is a big one, and that's where I had, I guess, I didn't get the data. I'm like, I won. You guys didn't save the data? Where I have everything going for me is the Tiercel peregrine falcon. It's the fastest of all the birds, right? You hear, falcons are fast. Then you hear the peregrines are the fastest. Well, the Tiercels are the faster of the two. So I had a Tiercel peregrine, right? So he probably, and I've seen him go above 150 several times. And like how we hunt, he doesn't even go that high, which is interesting. So, and then the pursuit, basically, good pigeons will make the falcon miss on the first stoop every single time. And they should, right? They have all that time as the falcon's coming down to time their evasive maneuvers. And so if that's going to happen, and the falcon kind of knows it's going to happen, like a good pigeon bird knows, like, okay, I'm probably going to miss the first one, but what they plan in their mind is everything basically after that. And so interestingly enough, a good pigeon bird, and this is what you saw my bird do, is once you throw the pigeons, so basically, let me take a few steps back. The night before, so they draw numbers out of a hat, and then that is the place at which you get to pick your place on the day. So it's like 1 through however many people entered, and then Whoever gets number one gets to pick when they fly, like what they fly at. And so having a tiercel anatom, I'm like, dude, I will fly in the middle of the day. I don't even care, because I'm not flying some Gyr hybrid, which everybody is flying, because interestingly enough, those have won the sky trials like 90% of the time. Tiercel Gyr peregrines. I'm not going to leave again to go get it, but on their annual shirts, they have a huge list of every single sky trial winner, the person's name, like the year it was, what their bird was, and their bird's like, name and sex. Vast majority of them, Tiercel Gyr peregrines. It's just GP, 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 GP. It's crazy. And then like a jerkin, GP, 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 GP. And then next year is going to be a freaking Tiercel peregrine, baby.
That's pretty sick.
And it's going to be Flaming Dragon. The dumbest name of all time is imprinted on a shirt forever now.
No, that's awesome, man. That's super cool.
What did you win for winning it?
What's that?
What did you win? What was the prize?
Dude.
A turtleneck.
Bruh. The freaking lure competition won $500. No, you get like, what's crazy is you get like, I got like, you can either have this or a perch, and then the notoriety. That's it. Which is pretty cool. As you can see on the screen, I am his Skyness, the reigning defending Sky Trials champion. And don't you forget it.
Yeah, no, that's definitely awesome, but it's like you don't get it. I mean, I guess it's,
you don't get like a literal trophy or anything like that.
Yeah, you don't get anything fun. It's just like a perch, like one of those like Pakistani perches. That's just like
it's. I will say it's not a Pakistani perch. It is a really nice perch. I haven't started using it. I'm not sure when. Like, I'm wondering if I want to save it for when. So I took him back to my grandpa. My grandpa breeds falcons. So I'm thinking. So I took that bird, Flaming Dragon, back to so dumb. Back up to my grandpa's to breed. And I'm thinking I only use that perch for whenever I get his son and start flying one of those. I think that would be pretty cool.
Do you think that adds any value to his offspring?
100% it does. So that's the thing. Like, you would be getting an offspring of a proven Sky Trials winner. Like 100%. That commands.
That's a good point.
That could command a little extra 500, extra 5 bands. No big deal.
Imagine hooking him up with a previous winner. Yeah, both parents are winners of the Sky Trials.
That'd be crazy. The thing is, females don't. I don't know. They're just no nonsense. You know what I mean? Like, they're not into all the who's and what's. The glitz and the glam that like Tiercel falcons will kind of do anything. You know what I mean? That's why I prefer myself not to fly females. I like Tiercels.
Yeah.
Is it true that sorry, Casey? Is it true that the females are just kind of like, they just efficiently kill? They're not worried about style or anything like that. The falcons.
Yeah, so they don't think about it that way. But the reason we think about it that way is because females in a tail chase are faster because they're moving more mass, right? Mm-hmm. And they have larger wings. So what we think of as style is going high and putting on cool moves in the bottom of the stoop, which Tiercels have to do because a lot of the time, obviously there's a ton of variation in this. They can't just simply chase it down. They can't just chase down a pigeon, right? They have to put sick moves on it. And again, obviously, don't castrate me in the comments. Yes, a Tiercel peregrine can chase down a pigeon, but I'm speaking in very broad generalities here. This is especially prevalent with, like, I'll just say Merlins, because I have a lot of knowledge in Merlins. It is very difficult to get a female to wait on because she knows she can just chase down whatever is going to try and flush in front of her, where a male cannot. And so they're much more willing to wait on and gain the altitude so that they can use that speed to their advantage.
Yeah, they have to be more precise. So I'd imagine Tiercel going 150 needs to hit that prey animal in a certain way to incapacitate it, to not have to fight with it on the ground and draw attention from predators. It's all like ingrained in them to like just be done with it as quick as possible. Where a female like just doesn't give a crap. They're just like, I'll just break your back and then just kill you on the ground. Like, it's like a different thing.
And I'm big enough, I can just carry you wherever I want to carry you.
It's a different mindset. Same for goshawk, same for all birds. Yeah, and I only flew female merlins, and I never had, because you were like, you were disgusted with me because none of my, because my flights were like, they were just from point A to point B. I didn't have any cool waiting. She would wait on a little bit, but it's not like your videos, like where like you're filming your dogs in the grass and then you just go up and you just see this little guy like over your head, just just watching you. I'm like, dude, that is sick.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, that is sick. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Man,
how fast do you think the falcon was going that day, realistically?
So I'll take you back, and now I'll take you through the story to get to that point. So I draw third for my placement, and I'm like, dude, not bad, right? And I'm like, you know what? These guys all got Gyr peregrines, and I'm the young gun. I'm the young buck. You've had the old bull. I'll pick 10th, right? I think there was like 13 people. I'll pick 10th. That will put me definitely later in the morning, right? So people start flying. We're having a lot of fly-offs, man. Like there's no eagles. That's not true. There was an eagle. There was multiple bald eagles.
How many people? How many
13,
how many entries?
I think 13.
Okay.
I think.
Okay. Because I was waiting
13.
for you to say like, yeah, it was only like 3 guys that. No, 13. No, that's easy. You beat all of them. But is there any type of like strategic thing? Because you're like, okay, all these guys are flying GPs. They want to fly like at their time. They want to fly in the evening. My bird will fly at any time. Should I pick an evening spot to like kind of screw them up? Like, is any of that kind of stuff going on, or is it just like, civilized?
It's not really like it is very civilized, I will say. But you can try to play to your strengths. And I did. And that's what I did. Whereas, so like my falcon can fly because he's a pure peregrine in any heat, right? And it didn't get, it's January in the high desert of Nevada. It's not going to get hot, but there will be thermals. And he loves the hot air. I fly out here in California. It does not get cold. It doesn't get to freezing. You know what I mean?
I just have a question because you're judged on pitch and on mounting. But if someone's flying at the crack of dawn and then someone's flying at 2 p.m. with thermals coming off the ground, like that, do they like have a stricter thing? Like if you mount in 10 seconds, we're only going to give you 12 seconds. We're going to deduct half of, you know what I mean? Because it's like subjective, and it's like, if I fly in the blazing sun in the afternoon, of course my bird's going to mount faster than the guy who flew in the morning when it's cold. Like,
yes,
is that okay? Go ahead.
Birds like to screw off in thermals. That's the thing. So they get the hot air of the thermals, but birds love to just go wee and leave. And they did. Birds were flying off left and right, bro. And I say that to say, all right, my bird's up. So me and Dave Cherry, he's the pigeon thrower. We walk out, take the hood off. There's a specific point that you have to walk to before you can pop the hood. I think it ended up being about 300 yards from the judges. It's slightly downhill, basically, because several hundred people come out to watch this so that everybody can see. So we get past that point, pop the hood, bro, just blasts off. I mean, just blasts off. And in all honesty, right? So I'm being honest, and this is why he won. He was perfect. He blast off, hooked right from where I was standing, straight into the wind. Just started tight concentric circles. Zoom, 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 zoom. 300 feet, 400 feet, 500 feet. That's what the GPS sounds like when it's telling you. So 500, boom. All right, that's the minimum. Yes, okay. Then 600 feet, 700 feet. And it's a little bit longer than that, but it was like, whoa, like he is blasting off. And you know what's crazy is the little bit of regret I have, and I regret something else too later that I'll talk about, but he would have gone higher. The previous 3 days of the meet, prepping him for this, he went over 1,000 feet every day. And so I'm like, oh, do I wait? And so after I heard 700 feet, I'm like, oh, what do I do? Because I don't want him to fly off. And so I hook downwind so that he will position you want them to be upwind of the pigeons. And then I yell, throw. And Dave throws the pigeons. And so to harken back several questions ago to something that you asked about the stoop, a bird that's been hunted often or that knows how to fly pigeons well will not just bleed off all of its steam immediately and go straight at the pigeons. They will position themselves above the pigeons and corral them while bleeding off some of their speed until they get them where they want them. And this is what he did. So he folded up, did a couple slow, wide circles till he got them where he wanted to, and then folded up, poured on the speed, put a huge slicing stoop into them, split the pigeons, which is what you want because together they're harder to hunt. Split the pigeons, they peel off from each other. And then this is where you get a whole bunch more points, is the re-engagement, basically. So he slingshots, shoots up, picks a pigeon. 1, 2, 3 re-engagements. And I guess he saw something in the other pigeon that he liked. They can see fear, They can tell when a bird's like, oh, shit, like I got to go hide under the cars or something, right? Because there's a whole bunch of cars and people out there. He saw something that he liked in the other pigeon, broke off from the pigeon he was engaging, went and engaged that pigeon. And something that was super cool that I couldn't quite see because I'm, like I said, 300 yards down. But maybe a part of why I won is that the next 2 stoops went right at the crowd. And so that probably helped a lot, right? So boom, re-engagement, and they fly right past the crowd. And something that I didn't know till after I had been told that I won, that Chance told me because he wanted to get the best video he could, being my boy, and he's got a nice camera. This chaps my ass to this day, is that past the cars, he put the pigeon in. He made the pigeon go to ground, which is like the ultimate, oh, you're so screwed moment. So he put the pigeon in. I thought, the pigeon got away. And so I started running up the hill back towards the crowd. I get a standing O. That was pretty nice. That felt pretty good.
Yeah, the crowd must have been. They were like, marvelous, marvelous. Typical long wing. Yeah, all long wingers laugh like Jeff Bezos.
Right? Oh my gosh, no, dude. So what I don't see and didn't know is that he put the pigeon to ground. And so there's a time limit of 15 minutes. By now, I mean, I'm only like 7 or 8 minutes into it because he freaking shot up like a rocket and did all of this very quickly. So I thought the pigeon got away in these valleys that are like behind the cars. Chance doesn't tell me till later. No, he put the pigeon in because he starts mounting up again. And I'm like, whatever, blah, blah, blah. I'm trying to get him down. Dude, a hard, concrete rule of the trials is when there's a bird in the air, the dogs stay in the car. The bird's in the air, someone lets their dog out. I know, dude. Pissed. Right?
Yeah, what kind of dog was it, first of all?
A GSP.
Of
what
course.
do you think? The stupidest. Yeah. Anyway, yeah. Hey, shout out to all you GSP owners. I don't know how you do it. They're dumb as rocks and not that good of a pointer. Shots fired. I'll freaking I'll fire those shots off, man. I don't care. They're trash. Get a better pointer. Get a setter.
Yeah.
Get a Vizsla. Something.
I don't know anything, but I just know the reputation that like everybody has one, and it's like played out. And
you have to beat him with a 2x4 to get him to go outside to pee. Anyway, so I have to like divert my attention to my bird to like try and stop. My male terrier's not the most dog friendly. I'll tell he doesn't love all dogs. So they get their dog out and he immediately starts like, "Oh, who are you?" I have to go remedy this. Put your dog away, blah, blah. My bird's remounting. And anyway, I'm trying to get my bird down. I'm throwing a carcass and he doesn't want to come down. Something I don't know is because just like T-Rex doesn't want to be fed. He wants to hunt. He is mounting up right over where he put this pigeon in that I didn't see. Anyway, he eventually does come down. I walk back. No big deal. Get another standing O. Not a big deal. Not a huge.
What if the bird just smokes the pigeon on the first pass? Is that like mega points?
That's a lot of points. Okay. That's a lot of points. Yeah. But nobody did. There were people whose birds went higher than me, but they didn't even come down to the pigeon, which is crazy.
Dude, what if like
crazy?
Like if because like people get competitive, like falconers are competitive. Like what if you just had like one of your buddies like 3/4 of a mile away, like just flashing a pigeon, like you know what I mean?
You could do that, but that's
falconers
so
are not nice.
evil.
I mean, I'm sorry, falconers are the nicest people ever. They would never think of doing anything like that. I'm just wondering. Go ahead, Aaron.
What? Unless it was in there, how fast do you think your bird went at his?
So I think he probably hit 130 to 140 based on all the many hundred. I don't know. I've flown him hundreds of times. So because I flew him 2 years almost every single day for probably 4 months. That is over 200 times. Probably 130s to 140s, if I could say, because he was up there pretty high. That is higher than we hunt at. We hunt around 300 to 400, at 300 to 400 feet.
And what are you hunting with him?
So I hunt with him mostly doves and snipe out here in California. We have a pretty decent early dove season, but then they all migrate south, and it sucks. They just basically leave. We run out of them here, where I'm at. But we have a bunch of like ag fields, like basically like farm pastures. And so we get like no rain at all in the summer. We get tons in the winter. So those fields will be very wet, and so we get lots and lots of snipe out there. They're sweet.
That's epic.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's a pretty the Hungarian partridge and pheasant. Like to me, it's like they're just an invasive species, and everyone makes a big deal about them.
Yeah,
but like snipe and like quail and like grouse, like that stuff is like legit. Like it gets me excited. There's just something in my mind, even though like pheasants and chucker, they've been here for like hundreds and hundreds of years, literally. It just still
into it. It just
bothers me. I'm like, why am I paying a tag to go kill an invasive species? Like I don't have to get a tag to kill a starling.
Why do they protect invasive species?
Because they also do things to bolster those invasive species.
Yeah, I know. So it's a rhetorical question, but
they spend the money, you know what I mean, to like better pheasant habitat.
Which helps everything, I guess. Yeah, so it makes
why
sense.
Are they doing?
Yeah. Pheasant habitat helps quail, you know what I mean? Hun habitat helps native quail.
Which in turn helps license sales.
Boost tourism.
Exactly. Yeah.
There are a shitload of people that go out west to hunt pheasant.
The reason I love hunting small birds personally is because you get a bunch of flights over and over and over again. We go out in a cut cornfield, right? I see doves, meandering out there, and we'll get 20 to 40 slips in a flight. That's what I love, as well as do the same thing with flying merlins out here. Versus like what you said, a Hun flight, you get one, or on a duck flight, you get one. That's it. And yeah, I guess, I don't know. The holding a big green head is pretty cool. I still haven't done it yet with a falcon. So I can't like truly speak on it.
You've never
But you
called
drive
a
an
duck
hour.
with a falcon?
Huh?
You've never caught a duck with a falcon?
I haven't. Isn't that crazy? I've been flying falcons for years and years now.
This
and
is where Casey comes in and goes, I've caught ducks with goshawks.
No, I was going to actually say me neither, and neither have us. It's pretty cool. And I'll go as far as say I've never even seen it. I've seen it in videos, but those are like trash. I've never seen one that's like decent. Maybe there's like a couple that are decent.
I would love to see it.
But I want to because I hear it's like not only is it a visual experience, it's like an audible experience where you like hear the bird whistling, and then when they smash that duck, the duck is so big that like the noise it makes is like just a smack that like echoes, and it's like this thud, and the whole experience is like amazing. I've never even seen it. You know what I mean? In person,
the thud is nice, and the so it actually sounds. It's not even a whistle. It sounds like a jet. Interestingly enough, because it's the same thing. So the sound of a jet is the airfoil of the jet's wing, like, and falcons' wings are also airfoils, and so they sound just like a jet when they're coming in. Right? When they
chemtrails, yeah.
We can get into that.
Falcons fly around and make the frogs gay. It's ridiculous.
Basically. So that's one of the main reasons I love small bird hunting, is because you get to see it over and over, a whole bunch of flights over and over and over again, like 20 to 30 slips in one outing.
That's I get the appeal for sure.
Oh. Can you do like, okay, so like everybody knows in the show we kind of like joke around about long wingers, and this is a goshawk thing, and like, you know, but we want to learn everything, and Chris knows a bunch, and third generation, like we said. So can you like, do people, and I'm sure they do, but like, can you go out and like catch like multiples with a falcon, or is it like a completely different kind of a thing?
It depends on what you're flying, to be honest. So my best day with a Merlin was 8 sparrows.
Okay.
That was a good day. And with jacks, more so than females, because again, the whole male female dynamic, jacks or tiercel falcons are used to getting robbed, quote unquote, by the female to go feed the nest. So they're used to freaking carrying food back and forth all day. So they're way more used to catching something, like say we're talking to Merlin, catching a sparrow, eating the brain, whoop, little sleight of hand, the sparrow disappears. And then they're like, all right, let's get another one. And doing that. Let me see. Have I done it with big falcons? You can do that. I haven't. When I get a bird dog and it's a little easier for me to flush my quarry, I probably will. Right now I just have my terriers, which is crazy. I've actually seen them point birds before. It's got to be something in a hunting dog's DNA to lock up on bird scent. They just don't have as good of noses as a hound or a bird dog, you know? So eventually, like when I buy a house here with a decent enough yard, I'm going to probably get another Vizsla again. And then I will try and go for doubles when I can flush more and more quarry, because sniping doves are not easy to find. Like, that's the thing. You do a lot of walking.
Good point.
Is there any quarry out there that would be easier for you to find for your falcon that you just don't want to hunt?
Yeah. So, I mean, ducks, you just need the ponds. And for me specifically, I would need to travel to go find those ponds. Right where I live, it's all ag land. So it's just canals that either do or do not have water. But the main thing is, by me during duck season, there's a preserve that's like 3 miles as the crow flies away. And so, yes, close to my house, there are tens of thousands of ducks. But Casey knows you can't really hunt them with a falcon in a marsh. You know what I mean? So to go and find true ponds, because all you need to do is, you peek over the top of it. Yep, there's ducks. Go back, get your bird, set it up. Like, that is easier to find, right? that's an hour for me minimum. I have a buddy of mine about an hour away who that's all he flies, but it's close to his house is the thing, right? And so he flies like big terrestrial peregrines and female peregrines on ducks. My slips are 10 minutes away from my house, just outside of town. And so that's why I focus on that for ease. And in all honesty, like, if I have enough fields that I can rotate them pretty well, I don't hit the quarry, and they're migratory. So I might not even be seeing the same birds. You know what I mean? So it might not even matter.
Good point. Yeah. I was always curious about that. Like if guys are going out and catching like 2 ducks in a morning with a falcon or something like that.
Yeah.
On the subject of ponds, I wanted to get into this because we've heard this, and I don't know if you've experienced it. Well, you maybe not because you don't travel to those ponds as much. I heard it's like you get there and there's like a friggin' waiting list to get to the pond with other falconers, which is like bizarre. It's like bizarre to me, but I heard that that's like a thing in California.
So SoCal, yes, that is a thing. And the thing is, there's a bunch of people down there because 30 years ago, that was the best place to be a falconer on earth because you had all of the allure of the city that wasn't that big back then, right? It didn't have the sprawl, but you still had all this amazing hunting ground within 30 minutes. Now, everybody knows which pond it is, and they have to coordinate. All right, I'm going to fly a Tuesday. You're going to fly a Wednesday. And so that is a real thing. Now, California is a big old state. It's gigantic. And I'm in NorCal. And no, there's tons and tons of ponds and the right places up by me. So, and again, I don't have to deal with that, which is nice. I fly small birds. But no, I've haven't hardly heard of, all the time I spent with duck hawkers up here. They don't really step on each other's toes, which is nice. There's plenty of quarry to go around.
Are you originally from California?
Oh no, man. I was born in Kansas, but I've lived all over the place.
Where'd you get started in falconry?
So I got my first permit in Louisiana. But, like we've touched on, I've been working with birds of prey my entire life.
What was the hawking like in Louisiana?
Thick as...
Sucked.
Oh, dude. So basically on your apprenticeship list of things to buy was a pair of chaps because of how thick it is, like the briars, basically. If you want to get any hawking done, you got your glove, you got your jesses, your leash, your perch, your scale, your hawking chaps. That is an absolute must for everybody. Like it's funny thinking out on that now. Like you pull up to your spot, first thing everybody does, they step out of their truck, they put their chaps on, because it is so thick. But dogs are a must. We're mostly hunting squirrels out there. And the nice part about it, it's very, very viney. And so that's another main thing is like you go out, you put your, people flew red tails too, but most people, so that we can hunt with each other, put your female Harris hawks up, start pulling on vines in the trees. It's mostly that.
Did you get the swamp rabbits where you were?
Not as much as they do down in southern Louisiana. I had one slip on one that I can remember pretty vividly because it was there's a huge size difference, right? Like it's just about the size difference between a jackrabbit and a cottontail. Like they're big. They don't have the height of a jack, but they have the size of a jack. Like they're 4 and 5 pound rabbits. So like they're big sons of guns. I got one slip on one time. And my male red tail tried, but no dice. And then, after that, I've loved squirrel hawking so much. I like to say that my favorite. So this might be changing. My favorite bird to fly is a Jack Merlin. That might be changing because I'm like really falling in love with terrestrial peregrines right now. But then I would always say, and still kind of do, my favorite quarry to fly is tree squirrels.
What do you think the bird is? What do you think the best bird for that is?
So I can't truly speak on this, Casey, because I have not yet flown a goshawk on them, and nor have I flown a female red tail. I've flown 2 male red tails and a pile of Harris hawks, and I've done just fine. Killed hundreds of squirrels in my time. But interestingly enough, I've never flown a female red-tail, which people say are the best. And I haven't been in a place where I've been able to fly a goshawk on them, And Casey and I have talked about this in the past. I want to. A lot of my friends have had a lot of fun and a lot of success, yourself included, on squirrels. And I don't give a dang about rabbits. I could care less about rabbits. I have a squirrel spot by me that I hit early season before the trees drop their leaves, and I kill all the rabbits out of it so that I can actually hunt squirrels.
Is this in California?
Year. Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting. We'll have to talk about California squirrel hawking. But to your point,
does it. I think I'm the only tree squirrel hawker in the state, to be honest with you.
Listen, I had a person, I'm not going to say who or anything because everyone will know who they are. But I said something like, if you really want to prove them wrong, instead of taking selfies with your bird, why don't you go out and hawk? And they're like, oh, it's illegal to hawk squirrels, and I don't have dogs. And I said, how is it illegal to chase squirrels in California?
Yeah.
But I'm like, I think there's a special squirrel or something, and you have to be careful or something like that, right?
It's not a special. There's a line. If you go far enough south, it's crazy that tree squirrels aren't legal to hunt. And they're introduced. They're eastern fox squirrels and eastern gray squirrels.
Yeah, they're invasive, I heard also.
Now, we do have two of our own native squirrels as well. The Douglas fir squirrel, which is a little pine squirrel, a species of red squirrel.
Probably cute as hell, right?
And then what's that?
Probably cute as hell, aren't they?
Oh, they're so cute. They're adorable.
Aaron's
they're
on
tiny.
estrogen pills, just FYI.
I'm on test blockers and estrogen.
No, it's not test, but it's beta
blockers. I take
beta blockers, not test blockers.
That's what I hear.
Come on, man.
And then we have a California or Western gray squirrel, which is bigger than the biggest fox squirrel. They're huge, and they have these gigantic, fluffier than average tails. So they have a giant body and then a tail that's just as big as their giant body. My current roster of hawks do not even mess with them, which is crazy. They do not even. If I see a squirrel moving and it's gray, I'm like, oh, dang it. They just completely ignore them. They are so big.
Yeah.
So big.
I've never dealt with any fox squirrels or anything like that. And that is one thing that kind of puckers me just thinking about it.
Change this year.
I think me and Aaron are going to try to make it happen this year, but it still makes me nervous because I'm all about goshawks don't want to get bit, blah, blah, blah. And I say all this stuff, but I'm like, dude, I don't know if I want my bird potentially getting bit by a fox squirrel. But
they're big.
They're very big.
Are.
But listen, I will say this, the whole thing about the rabbits, and it seems like it's only an out west thing where people are like, oh, rabbits are trash. They're bycatch. And I'm like, because they're everywhere. Obviously on the East Coast, it takes so much effort to find rabbits, at least in most areas, that it's a rabbit's a special quarry to catch because you have to work so hard for it. But I mean, dude, that one epic, and I told you to do it. I think it was me that told you to do it, to do a live stream or something.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, that was epic. I watched the entire time. I was enthralled with it. He just starts a live stream on Instagram and just starts lets his two Harris Hawks go and just starts walking, and you're talking and being funny and just entertaining, and everyone's watching, and then the rabbit flushes and and then you're running and you caught two rabbits in half an hour or something. But it was super, and it looked like it was hawking the most pleasant hawking you could do.
It is
easy walking, relaxing.
I agree with you on the rabbit thing, in that Louisiana rabbits, cottontails, they were hard too. You had to have a dog, and there was a very limited amount of spots, right? And then now to the other side, I've become so completely enamored with squirrels that I could care less. I love the squirrel chase, right? And funny enough, on that video, that was one of my birds' first flights. There was a Tiercel Harris hawk. That was his first flight for me. And they ended up catching 2 rabbits. It was awesome.
So you're the only person in California that does this?
That hunts tree squirrels. I think so. I've tried to spread the gospel of tree squirrel hawking.
I guess it's more for you, huh?
Hey, by all means. But squirrels have such a bad reputation out here because we have ground squirrels, and ground squirrels, I don't know what it is. I really don't know. Maybe in that there isn't that part of the hunt where they've been grabbed and they're falling and trying to orient themselves. Maybe it's because they're already on the ground and they just go straight to defensive mode. But like, people have had, myself included, horrible bites from ground squirrels, where I've never had a bad bite from a tree squirrel. I've had bites, but never like a one where it's like dismembered a bird, like messed up a bird's foot. And I've had that happen.
So similar to gray squirrels.
What's that?
Those big ground squirrels or rock squirrels, they look so similar to gray squirrels.
Yeah. Yeah, they're a little bit bigger. Maybe because they're chewing on freaking rocks all day. That's why they have such a bad bite. I hate those things. You know, I avoid those like the plague. And funnily enough, I like seek out tree squirrels, though. It's so much fun. And so that might be why nobody does it, because rock squirrels have such a bad name. Is by the time you get over there, your bird's probably, because it saw it from 3 football fields away. By the time you get over there, your bird's so chewed up and it's just like a bloody mess, and they lose a toe or,
I figured they'd be really hard to catch, that they would just like get into the rocks super quick, because I've never seen them away from like piles of boulders and rocks. Yeah.
Yeah. My bad issue was with, I pulled into a squirrel spot and, put my birds up. I head out and one of my birds is sitting at the truck, which happens sometimes with Harrisako. She just wants to sit there for a bit, and it's like 10 minutes goes by. I'm like, okay, what is she doing? And I go back and she has a ground squirrel, and it's been latched on her foot, just chewing on a toe for like 10 minutes. I know, dude.
God.
Yeah, she's got a weird toe now. It's heartbreaking. And so that was an instance where, if I had been there, I could have rushed it and grabbed it, It's just unique circumstances, but I'll preach the good tree squirrel gospel as long as I live, man. I love those things.
Same here. So it's more of like a cultural thing, kind of like.
I think it is because of the bad name that squirrel has got in California.
I mean, but there's a whole contingent of falconers all over the country and the world that are like, squirrels evil, unethical. Like, all right,
I know, right? Like, it's like
I'll post today.
People have had their birds die from jackrabbits too. So, like, what are we doing? They've had their birds die from hitting ducks.
Casey says it all the time, and I think he's right. Is rabbit hawking is way more dangerous than squirrel hawking.
I could see that. Yeah. Those like the slams that red tails put in. Casey's lost some birds doing that. I've lost birds
last year died like that.
Yeah, right in front of all of us. And we were chasing, we were kind of like doing half rabbits, half squirrels, but we were walking in the woods, getting ready to go after some squirrels. And a cottontail jumps up, and that's how his bird died, right in front of everybody. I've never heard of anybody going squirrel hawking and then like their bird just like died, except for Aaron's goshawk the same year, chased a squirrel, hit a tree, and internal bleeding, something in the middle of the woods. Oh. It was a bad year. It was a bad year for both of us. It was a really bad year.
Yeah, that year, Casey's dachshund was killed by a bear.
Oh my! No, not that year, bro.
And then my red tail smacked a fence at the field meet chasing a rabbit in the middle of the woods. And then earlier in the year, my goshawk, we assume, hit a tree chasing a squirrel and died.
I've ran into a barbed wire fence in the middle of the woods, full tilt, and slammed me into the ground.
Right?
Yeah. Oh, of course.
Yeah, the human injuries happen when you're chasing squirrels.
Because you're looking up.
Yeah. You're more likely. You as the falconer are more likely to be injured squirrel hawking, but your bird is more likely to be injured chasing rabbits, because rabbits purposely run towards different obstacles to strip predators. It's just like what they do. They know exactly where they're going, and they want that predator to get stripped off and hit whatever they're going to squeeze through. So it's just like if you got a bird that's just on their ass, they're going to smack that fence or that stump or whatever. It's
no
not
power
good.
lines in the woods.
I want to. No power lines. No power lines for me. I stay away from those two. It's not good, man. It's just dangers everywhere, man.
Yeah, there's risk in everything. I tried, tell people, dude, you just have to accept the risk, and birds die. It's something you have to accept. One of my buddies who just started falconry, he's about to upgrade here in a few months to general. This poor guy. His first bird died. Like the first bird he ever had crossed a road that he wasn't even close to. Boom. Slammed by a truck. He wasn't even close to the road. Must have seen something over there. And so fortunately I was able to tell him, hey, like, accept that you are going to lose a bird in your lifetime. Oof. And then sure enough, his first one. So he got that out of the way, got the bad luck out of the way, right? And now he can move on to all the good luck. And his second red tail was kick ass and caught like 20 jacks. And so like he's doing great with that bird.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's just, as they say, as cliche as everybody says, it's what do they say? The highest highs and the lowest lows. Pretty much falconer in a nutshell. It's
falconer is the highest of highs and the lowest of lows.
It's the highest of highs. Yeah, that's like, it's like but it's true. You know, it's cliche, but it's true.
I wonder who said that first. Chris, you might know. You've been around.
Probably like
while.
Chingren or something.
Yeah, Chris's grandpa might have said that.
Yeah, his paw.
No, my grandpa would have put it better.
Your grandpa who
Bro's a legend.
Who yes, you're in California, grew up in Kansas, and somehow your grandpa was hawking ducks by my house in Jersey.
Oh yeah, he used to be stationed at a.
There's an ordinance. There's an ordinance in like the best duck spot.
Because of him,
the park literally, it's like got a list of rules, like from 50 years ago when they made the park.
No stars
and
allowed.
It says like all this stuff, like no communists, this. It says like all these old school rules, and then all the way at the end, the last one's like falconry is strictly prohibited. And, and it's because of your grandpa, because he was out, he was out there because your dad told me he was out there literally just slanging freaking mallards with his peregrine, like right in this little town that's 20 minutes from my house, where I grew up.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, it's insane. And I listen, it is what it is. There's the
he pulled a goshawk from up there.
That's so cool.
Too.
I want to get into that. So were you a falconer when you were a kid, or did you get into it later? Because you went to the military too, right?
Yeah, I was in the Air Force. Okay. I don't know. This is honestly looking back so dumb, but I was like, no, I want to focus on like sports and stuff. And like, I was so, actually diagnosed autistic that like I like didn't apply myself in team sports because I was so like nervous and bad with like talking to people. Yeah, people are like, oh, undiagnosed, but pretty sure. No, diagnosed, very sure. Like, yes, dude, it was bad. It was bad. It was a rough childhood, but I just wanted to focus on like basketball and track and cross country and stuff like that. So I waited, but like my dad had a kestrel, and like I would go and see my grandpa every summer, and I would help him train birds and stuff like the new birds of the year up at his place. And then I joined the Air Force, was in there for a couple of years, and because my grandpa was in and he had time to fly birds, I thought that I was going to, but he was like a high-ranking officer, and that's why he had the time. And I did not have time, so I'm like, okay, let me get out. And as soon as I got out, found a sponsor, stayed in Louisiana for a few years, started hawking immediately.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And so your dad, so then your grandpa, and then your dad was a falconer too, still is a falconer.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So would you like fly with him and stuff when you were young, or like?
Yep. Red tails. Yeah. Red tails in Illinois.
It's crazy. It's so cool. That's neat. I can't even like fathom like that,
Yeah.
Do we know of any other third generation falconers in America?
I don't know if there is. I thought I heard of one, but I never confirmed it. There may be someone young coming up that might be like right now, like maybe there's a teenager out there or a preteen that could possibly be, but to my knowledge, no. And I'm going to churn out a bunch of kids because not every kid loves falconry like I thought they would. Right. Mm-hmm. There's only one out of all of their grandkids, or one other. And it's one of my girl cousins who's a falconer in freaking Illinois.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, she flies reds.
Oh, that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
That's neat, man. I mean, I would love to talk to your dad. What we were going to do. So the goal was, just for the audience, we were going to have Chris and his dad come on and have them do it together. But then we decided to just do them separately. This way, like we can, like, because we don't want to like skip over cool stuff and like we probably wouldn't have talked about so much about the interesting stuff that goes on just because for time. So it's nice to just be able to talk. But yeah, I would just, because I'm trying to think of it myself. Like, I'm like, how do I dude, like I literally took, well, whatever, I shouldn't say. I did a baggie with the new puppy, and I took the baggie out. I'm not, and I'm getting ready to like release it and hide it, and then like my son, like I almost disowned him. He goes,
oh no,
leave it alone.
Oh no!
I said, excuse me. He's like, you're gonna kill the rabbit. I said, I'm not gonna kill the rabbit. He goes, the dogs are going to kill it. I said, yeah, Leo, that's what we're doing.
We're training with the test, with like a test dart or something.
Yeah, like a blowgun. I was like, and it like hit him in his neck, and he just got like traps. Like, no, I was very disappointed.
I'm ready.
And then I went, like, I finished what I was doing. He started crying because I just continued with what I was doing. And then like he goes inside, he's crying to my wife, and my wife comes out, and she's like, Dad. I said, no. I said, this comes from you and your mom. Who don't want to see this stuff? It's all bad stuff. Like, don't say this to your wife. They do not take marital advice from me. But I'm like, your mom doesn't like it. She like, I have like the sparrow and starling traps in the backyard because I got the owl. I'm like, I leave for work and there's like 50 sparrows jumping all around it and starlings. I come home from work. There's not one in the There's not one in the trap.
Oh no!
Oh, I wonder why. Because she sneaks out there and lets them go.
Are you kidding me,
dude? Sparrows are like gold, brother.
Yeah, they are. I got one outside. He's gonna get it later. My owl's that's why I had to move the owl to the other room because he's amped. When he sees me, he gets amped. He knows what we're gonna do. But yeah, so I was just like, so I set all that up, and as everybody knows, I ramble to set something up. I'd love to talk to your dad. Yeah, or how do you get your son to like be like, because you're like you're full blown like obsessed with falconry, like this, like what you do, like you're obsessed, like your friggin' business for your living is falconry. So it's like,
that's right.
How do you like athletes have like a lot of athletes are like dysfunctional and they have trauma, and that's why they're so good at athletes. And it's like,
so do I.
And like kids that have good lives, like they don't win like NCAA, they don't win like crazy medals for like, it's usually some sort of, so like, how do you manufacture like trauma to get your son to be a good athlete? Or like, how do you manufacture a childhood that make your son like love falconry and be obsessed with it? I'm
never going to use this joke in my own life, but you got to get divorced.
Hey, listen.
Nah, I'm kidding. I'm so kidding.
I got 4 goshawks outside and a screech owl in the house.
See, that's too many for a person who's not like. So a major reason, it's funny. Shout out to past Chris thinking this far forward. A major reason why this is my business now is so that I can justify the birds. Now I can justify the birds, and I'm thinking like in the future. Okay, say I've got meeting a short tangent. Joe and Alyssa up in Idaho. For all of you listening, they are alive. They just deleted their socials. They're just living their life now. But they're about to have their 6th kid. And Joe comes from a family of 10 children.
6 kids?
Now.
You sure he's not an Aaliyah?
My sponsor has 5 kids and still is trying to hawk. It's crazy.
I met all of his siblings at his daughter's birthday this last week. I want a ton of kids because seeing the way all of those now adults interacted with each other was beautiful. Man, honestly, it was beautiful. I want to have a bunch of kids now.
Yeah, no, it's listen, there was 4 of us growing up in my house, and my house was chaotic. It wasn't 5 or 6, but we're 10. But it was, like we were all
too many. Yeah, that's a starting line.
Yeah, that's like crazy. Amish, like like something different.
They're very Catholic.
Yes, exactly. And it was nice because like all my brother's friends were my friends, all my friends were his friends. Yeah, all my sister's friends were and the same age. Yep. Close to, it was like it all worked out. It was nice. My older brother was 4 years older. He was just doing his own thing, but but we were all friends, like and like our friends knew we were all friends with everybody in the town, and like everybody knew us, and it was like. It just made it more fun to just grow up in like that kind of, but it was almost a little too chaotic at a certain point. You know what I mean? Because you're living in a modern world with like my mom had to work part-time. My dad was driving a bus for 28 hours a day. And it was like,
Jeez.
it was like a lot. So, unless you got like money and like your mom can stay home and just like be with you constantly.
Well, that's the plan, to be honest.
Well, yeah, of course. That's ideal. Yeah. Yeah, of course. But I just want to manufacture. I don't want my son to ever say anything like that to me again. Like, I just don't want that to ever happen.
Hey, he'll grow into his manhood. You know what I mean? And it could not be the first. It could be the second, right? Like I said, the oldest boy of my cousins, my dad's sister's kids, is not into it at all. It's the first daughter who's a falconer, right? So who knows?
Yeah, it's because the older son, at least for me, my older brother was like the favorite child, and like so then
Still
like to this day. So then I, as the second oldest, like I want to like overdo him and like outperform him to like make my parents happy and like love me.
Of course,
they only love him. But then like then it's just like so I could see how that would make sense. Like where they're like, I want to have my own special time with my dad.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm gonna go with
that is
you.
What it
and
is.
then it like
that probably is.
And
what
then it bites them, and now they're like, oh, this is awesome. I'm so happy I did it.
I wonder if that's why. No, I don't think that is. I was gonna say, I wonder if that's why I got into it, because my mom and my dad split up, and I wanted to be connected to my father. No, for me, it was like going out. I'm probably 5 or 6. This is one of my core memories. We're gonna go watch Grandpa fly his falcon, and I'm like, what? Like, what does that even mean? And we drive out to this cut cornfield in the middle of nowhere in Illinois, and he's already got the bird in the air. Dad was probably late, classic dad, and my grandpa is extremely punctual. Like I said, full bird colonel in the Army. Like nothing is ever out of place. And so we get there, and he's already got the bird in the air, and we're walking out to him, and he's lure flying, and you can't even see the bird. It's a Tiercel peregrine, like it's going by. It's like blowing past him so fast, and I get to see him zoom, 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 exercising this bird. And then eventually, this is probably why it's stuck in my mind. He threw the just a Caturnix quail, so like the worst flying bird ever, right? He threw the quail in the air. It like I think he timed it poorly. This is over 20 years ago now, right? So Grandpa's more of a falconer now than he was then, but he like timed the throw poorly. So the bird, by the time Caturnix quail can't fly at all, they just fall. So the bird just falls before the falcons even close, and it just starts booking it. And so like I remember seeing my grandpa running full tilt and like laying out full tilt, jumping and like boom, catching this quail on the ground. And then the bird's like, awesome. Okay, what are we doing? And then eventually he threw it properly, and the bird hit it. Your bird's like
his bird is like in the military too, and it's like it's like
was that
gaining altitude 74 knots, target in sight.
Caturnix will fly if you put them in a duck launcher, by the way.
Yeah, they suck. Exactly. I got a video of
a duck launcher. That's like a cannon for a Caturnix.
I got a duck launcher and a quail launcher. I use the duck launcher for Caturnix.
That's insane. That's insane.
You might as well just put it in one of those things that you get on like you throw the ball for your dog, and like you just I'm
thinking like the potato cannon, like a big
yeah. That's the t-shirt launcher. Yeah, that's cool, man. That sounds like I have memories like that because I got into it when I was younger, but it wasn't like a family thing, where it was like, it just seems like it's like in your identity as a person, because that was like part of your life. You know what I mean?
100% it is.
And that's super cool that you have that, because I do not have that. My dad was a bus driver.
Yeah, driving a bus.
Just trying to make some money.
you can be that for your family. You can be that grandpa, right?
That's what I'm trying to do. But I got my son over here telling me, leave him alone. I said, what is this?
Yeah,
so what are we doing here?
He's never going to be a grandpa if his son doesn't get over that, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he's going to be he's going to be moving out here to California with me.
You know what I mean?
Oh boy.
My daughter claims she's going to be a falconer, but she's just.
How old is she?
She's 5, but
she's got a long way.
Although she loves killing animals, she's into that.
Hey, that's the main thing, dude. If they're not squeamish, like unfortunately Casey's little San Franciscan oldest child is, if they're not if they're not squeamish.
He's not though. That's the thing. Like I've chopped chickens' heads off in front of him, and he just
maybe that's got something to do with how he feels.
Well, we talked about. Listen, you were there, Aaron. We talked with Chad Reynolds on the show, and I'm like, is it like wrong or like not appropriate to like chop the head? He's like, oh no, like you should most definitely do that in front of your child.
Take
like
parenting advice from him,
dude. Did you see his daughter? She's out there with like a shovel, like stabbing badgers and stuff. She's like, I'm like, whatever you did with her, that's what I need.
Psycho, dude.
I'm like,
Chad is a psycho, and so is his wife.
Yeah, you can tell. You can tell just by every picture that he's in. Him. So it's Chad Reynolds, and then like Jeff and his buddy down there. All their pictures are like the same. It's like the.
Like broke on the 1,000-yard stare, dog.
Yeah, they never smile, and they're always just like. And then Chad with like the hairline, it's hilarious. He's like as legit as it gets. That guy.
Yeah, Chad's awesome.
Yeah,
man.
He's the man. He really is.
Love that dude.
So, all right,
so Chris, you've made falconry your career, as you.
Yes, I have. Yes.
Yeah, tell us about that.
Yeah, so my company is called Hawk Force. It's a falconry-based bird abatement company. After I got out of the Air Force, I had some leave saved up, paid leave. And so I'm like trying to figure, I'm in my early 20s. What do I do with my life? And one of my friends was like, hey, you should talk to this guy, Michael Baran, and see if he's hiring. He runs a nuisance wildlife control company. And I had met him before, so I knew who he was. I met him on during an air show when I was running security on the flight line. I saw some hawks in the distance. I'm like, what? I know what those are. Just beelined it over to him, and he was like advertising his business with his birds, and he had a little baby eagle owl. There's a picture of me from ages ago in my ACUs, and I got a big old pimple on my face holding this little baby eagle owl. That was the first time I had met him, and Chance was like a 13-year-old. Hi, and so I met him back then too. And so every so often, I ended up doing the nuisance wildlife control for 12 years. Every so often, about once a year, we would sell a contract that we could use our birds at, right? Like some warehouse has pigeons in it. We're like, yes, finally, right? And you hear that out west, people do this full time. And Michael, the company owner, would be like, no, it's just ag work, and that's hard work. You're working 16 hours a day, sun up to sundown, flying birds. And I'm like, I mean, that doesn't sound so bad. You just fly birds. You know what I mean? Like that's the dream. You get paid to fly birds, right? And I just start kind of hopscotching my way further west, opening up new offices for the wildlife company. And, every so often I get one of these jobs and I'm like, dude, so cool. And I finally get to Reno and I hear about all these people on the West Coast in California doing all this work. And I eventually move over the border to Sacramento to open up our Sacramento office for that wildlife control company. And every so often, falconers would hit me up for work. And people, these business owners would always tell me, dude, there's more work than there's workers to fill it. Like anytime you need work, like let me know. Everybody who's established is turning down work straight up. Not quite there yet. I wish I was turning down work. We've got enough work for me and a few employees now, but like eventually we'll get there. It's, it's time in business and enough. Like Casey, right? You've been in business long enough to know that eventually you snowball if you're doing good business to the point where your work becomes all referrals and you have to turn down work. And it's a great place to be.
Yeah. And it fluctuates too. Like for me, It's like the service thing. So like summers are quiet because everybody's on vacation. Then the winters, like around the holidays, it gets quiet. Like before the holidays are crazy. Then during the holidays, it's quiet because they don't want to spend money and
that's good.
They just, you know what I mean? So it's like, you just like, I've noticed over the last like almost 10 years now, it just like goes up and down.
When everybody's pipes are busted.
Their pipes are busted in the winter. Yeah. It's, but with what you do, it's like more niche and you have to kind of like get your name out like more. And it's not like what I'm doing where it's like, oh, this guy fixed my faucet. Come fix my faucet. $200. Yours is like, all right, it's like a $10,000 a month like contract. So it's like kind of like a different.
Unique,
it's a different thing. Yeah, it's like you have to really get established and get your name to all these companies and referrals, and it's a bigger thing than just fixing broken stuff. You know what I mean?
It is. It's super unique. And like, speaking of that, like, peaks and troughs sort of a thing, wildlife similarly would always tank in the winter, right? Because animals are either like out here, it's bats fly south, right? And the mammals, the other mammals are not having babies. So like we would get these dry spells of work where I'm just like starving for cash. And then I would hit falconers up, be like, hey, do you have any work? They'd be like, yes. And like it would feed me through the winter. And then eventually, like years and like year by year goes by, and dude, I'm just like, I have been called to entrepreneurship for a long time. I already had, and I had tried through real estate, but again, like, you can use the old adage: if you chase two rabbits, you won't catch either, or the actual verse in the Bible where you will either love one master and hate the other. And so I found that's what was happening, is I was starting to resent wildlife because the falconry paid so good and I was flying birds, which is the best, right? That eventually I was just like, dude, I have to take the plunge. You know what I mean? I have to take the plunge. And I worked for this company for 12 years. So I gave them a 6 month, like I'm going to be leaving in 6 months. And started working for Alyssa. She's an amazing boss, very, very established, great businesswoman, and a super established company out here on the West Coast. Started working for her in like San Francisco and various places in the Bay Area. And, cutting my teeth, getting my feet wet, learning my business chops. I was able to talk to her about that and kind of say, hey, this is what I want to do. I want to like start my own business. And I was able to start on that foot, right? Like eventually I'm going to, start on like let's lay the groundwork that I am going to be leaving, right? So and she's super generous, taught me everything that she knew basically. And then eventually you just find your own accounts, right? Your own contracts, and lock them in for a good 6 months. And like you get your first one, it's like, oh yes, I'm doing it. You get all your paperwork lined up, good to go. And then you get a few birds underneath you and you've got your business, right? And you're out there all day, every day, like, I will make this work, right? Like any good business. And then you build a few more contracts. And so now I literally have to buy a house so that I can expand my business, because right now I'm living in a place that basically is too small for the amount of birds that I need, right? To put it one way. Or I want to be able to breed Harris hawks to fund the business with birds, not like make money.
So you have new birds coming up and learning
every year. So exactly. So that we have new birds to fly and work the contracts with, basically, right? Because now we're still buying birds from people. And I've got a few amazing Harris hawks ready to basically be retired and have proven themselves and are ready to start cranking out babies that I know are amazing. One of them is already a proven parent, right? And so to be able to fund that business that way, so I need to buy a house with a big old yard, you know what I mean? And this is California. Everything you've heard about the California housing market is true. It sucks.
Yeah, it's not really I mean, they always say it's never a bad time to buy, but I wouldn't buy.
That's horse crap.
Buy now.
Horse crap.
We got lucky. We got it when all those interest rates were low, and it's like
nice. I've looked at California on Zillow, and there's parts that are really bad and parts that seem a little more reasonable. But I'm guessing those reasonable parts are probably really they look reasonable for a reason, right? They're probably really bad.
Yeah, it's a 3-hour drive to his contracts. One way.
You not quite Northern California. Like, do you mind sharing like where you are?
Yeah, I live in Davis, outside of Sacramento, where the university is. University of California, Davis.
Okay. I think the places I was looking was like Bakersfield or something.
Oh, dude. Bakersfield? Okay, yeah, so that place is a dump.
Yeah. That's why I'm laughing about it.
That's where everybody from LA.
Owens.
That's where everybody from LA goes to fly their birds. Is in Bakersfield.
I wonder why.
Well, because it's a dump, and there's a bunch of good hawking spots.
And there was a whole video back in the day about that.
Yeah, Road to Bakersfield.
Bakersfield.
It's a ag town, basically.
Is that where they do their meat there?
Sometimes. So they change, just like NAFA, they change the meat location every year. Last year, interestingly enough, was right across the border in Nevada, which is kind of funny. But it's like right.
The part of the meat was in Nevada.
Why would they do that?
That sounds crazy because it's right on the California border, and they have this great. It's for big meats like NAFA meats. A big part of the actual meat is finding a meat hotel, right? That's going to say yes to the birds, yes to a ton of dogs, right? Can we set up a weathering yard? Are you guys chill? Is there a restaurant in the hotel? That's kind of important. You know what I mean? Because that's where everybody gathers.
The bar is more important from what I've seen. It's got to be
true.
There's got to be a decent bar at a falconer meet.
Highly important. Yeah, if you ever get down to a NAFA meet, come on, brother.
Well, I don't think they don't really like us these days.
What are you talking about? What does that mean?
Chris is not an avid listener of the show.
I'm not. Obviously, what happened?
All these stories were like crazy new to him. Like,
no, we just
two birds die.
Your dog got ripped apart by a bear. No. What happened was it's not that big of a deal, really. We had an ex NAFA, board member come on the show just out of coincidence. I don't even think we knew that beforehand. Aaron, did we know that?
Falconer. Yeah, I knew that because I brought it up.
Hey, name names.
It was David Feliciano.
Oh boy. Well,
but I understand. You can, listen, people have opinions, people have whatever, but he just said what happened and his point of view on what happened. And then I went like on a tirade and I kind of like took it back and I was like, well, if they're doing stuff like that, then screw them, but I was like, and then another episode, I was like, I take it back. You got to support NAFA. But then I was like, when all the NAFA brass started messaging me and I started saying, well, all right, we'll come on the show. And they were like, no, thank you. And I'm like, all right, listen, like if you want to like act like that, then you're going to alienate potential members. Like there's people that are out there that do not like NAFA for this reason or that.
Yeah.
I'm on the fence. I'm telling you, come on the show and talk about what you're doing. And we're the largest falconry podcast in the entire world. Okay.
Nice. Hey, good job, guys.
Us and Mounier, we're like standing O. No. And that's just a mathematical fact. It's not like, what I mean? It's a very niche market. It's a niche market. It's like, it's like we're the biggest, fly fishing knitting community. It's like, it's niche. So it's not, but we are the biggest and we have the most reach at this point in time. And we're like neck and neck with John. Yeah. But like, so I'm just like, well, then come on the show because they're going off about this and he's lying. And I said, well, how is he lying? And they're like, it doesn't matter, but this and that. He did this. And I'm like, all right, well, I'm not saying come on and we start an argument and like start throwing mud at each other, but just come on the show. We don't have to talk drama. Why don't you just tell us what's going on with NAFA? What is NAFA doing? Because you're not being clear about what you're doing.
Yeah.
And it just seems to be a lot of like politicking going on. So maybe come in and talk about it. And they're like, nope, not interested. You can come to us though. I'm like, I'm not flying out west. We do it, via. No, we're not interested. I'm like, okay, all right.
You know what I mean? Honestly, so even if you don't speak to anyone on the NAFA board, I still would recommend coming to a NAFA meet. It is so much fun. Don't let an experience with one board member who's not even going to be in office in a year or 2 years, right? Don't let that. NAFA transcends someone who's in office for 2 years. Like it's been an organization for like 75 years or something like that, right? So don't let like one person's opinion, who I don't even know who this is, affect how you feel about the organization of a whole, right? I'm mostly speaking from the experience. I suggest you guys should come because it is so much fun, dude. Being around hundreds of like-minded people, dude, it's the best. It's the best.
Dude,
Now,
I look forward, I literally look forward to every meet that I know I'm attending.
Yeah.
Like Jersey meet, PA meet it's fun. Everyone's a little stiff. They don't have as much fun as Jersey. They're a little stiff. But there's a lot of people at PA. There's a lot of people in Jersey. North Carolina was a blast. I'm going every year from now on to North Carolina. That was fun, man. Those guys were nice. We had a blast.
Yeah.
And I want to go to an AFA meet. The only reason that I have not gone is, number one, when I was young, I had no money.
Yep.
And now that I'm old and I'm married and I have kids, my wife's birthday is one day apart from my son's birthday, and it falls in the same week as the NAFA meet usually is held. So how am I pulling that off? It's like their birthday's in November. It was like November 18th, 17th. And that was like at that, it's like that's like when the meet is held, like right then.
Bring them with you. I was going to say, though, the last time Casey was around 100 like-minded people was at January 6th.
Yeah, I knew you were going to say something stupid like that. I knew you were going to say something stupid like that.
Bro.
I was not there. That's definitely a good joke. I was definitely not there.
I can neither confirm nor deny my attendance.
I can confirm I was not there. But it's, I want to go. And I don't have any ill will towards NAFA. I don't dislike NAFA. The only reason why I haven't re-upped my membership is because the system doesn't work. And then Lauren messaged me. Lauren messaged me. No, Lauren's, she's nice to me. We have nice conversations. Great. She'll text me stuff. We talk. Like, I have no problem with her or Jeff. And it's
me and her are going to a Coldplay concert later this week, actually.
Yeah.
Kidding.
Yeah.
That was supposed to be a topical joke, bro. Folks.
Yeah. No.
Just a joke.
Just a joke. But so she messaged me and she's like, all right, I'm literally in trouble.
Is it Jeff? Or is it?
Here we go with the inside joke. So she like texts me and she like went out of her way and she's like, I'm making you a new login, a new password, new this, new that. Aww. Yeah. And then I used it like 2 days later after she sent it to me and it didn't even work. It's just the same thing. Your email is already in file and we cannot register you. Please do it in person. And I'm like, all right, I guess you don't want my money. You know what I mean?
That's interesting. I've never had that issue. I would still say, dude, come. It's so much fun.
I'm sure it is. I'm sure it's going to be epic.
A blast, bro. You guys can get. Dude, go lay down, bro. Go lay down. Sorry, dogs. You can get people on the pod. You guys can. That's what
Mounier does.
Mounier.
Yeah.
He's not worried about hawking. He just wants to get
yeah.
So that's
he collects interviews like he collects Star Wars figures.
Dude, like when he was a kid, he was collecting Yu-Gi-Oh cards, bro. Now he's collecting
collecting, bro.
He's still got the collection of Yu-Gi-Oh cards, this guy. No, I'm just kidding. No,
I can't knock him, bro. I was a Yu-Gi-Oh fanatic when I was.
I know you were. That's why I was waiting to see. Yeah, like no, I'm just kidding. But it's just if you John, he went after us pretty good the other day, so we got to get him back. So
okay, there's podcast beef.
But it's not actual beef. It's funny. We're all like, John was on our show, we were on John's show. We're all friends. You know, like it's not. Our whole thing is it's like our podcast is like, and I've said this before, and it's probably annoying now, but our podcast is like literally hanging out at a falconry meet, just BSing with some guy who's telling you stories, and you're getting to know him, but there's nobody else around to like interrupt the conversation. Yeah, and then John's is like very like organized. He has a formula. He asks questions, and he's like, but we're like not like that. We like just let the conversation go. So it's like we need room for both. So that's why
I'm excited to talk about Israel and Palestine here in a bit.
Yeah, dude, we're on Epstein right now.
No. Oh my word, bro! Who?
No.
Who?
Yeah. Who? Nothing happened. Nothing
Epstein?
to see here. Nothing to see here.
Dude, come. You guys should come. 100%. You should come to the NAFA meet. I'm driving. I mean, I'll probably be driving as much as you because you're in freaking New York. You know what I mean? And I'm in Northern California. So I'm driving 1,500 miles or whatever it's going to be to Oklahoma.
Oh, it's in Oklahoma this year?
Yes. It's
is there going to be game there? Because I heard like the one year that I could have pulled it off,
brother.
Everyone's like, don't go, don't even go. And I didn't go.
Honestly, that's valid because the last Oklahoma meet was dog water. It sucked so bad. The saving grace and the reason why they picked it is because best meat hotel I've ever been to, dude. It was like a resort. So you think Oklahoma, flat nothingness, and you would be right. There's one place so hilly and rocky and mountainous that freaking Dad lived there. You know what I mean? Barbary sheep. I'm like, you're driving, nothing. And then out of the nowhere, just these mountains show up. And there's this amazing like resort with like an indoor pool and like outdoor fire pits and like their own multiple restaurants and like all these. It was an amazing meet for the hotel. It was in the middle of cotton country. And if you know anything about cotton, nothing lives in cotton. And it was just barrier to barrier cotton fields. It was the worst meet as far as finding game that I've ever been to. But the best meet that I've ever been to as far as the after party. It was amazing. We'd all be around the campfire. We would all be in the pool, drinking and singing songs till 3 a.m. So I would think, because they're not dummies, that they've probably learned from this previous Oklahoma meets. So the last one was trash. The one before that was fine. Plenty of games. So wherever this one is in Enid. And so I would think that they are taking what they learned from the last Oklahoma meet and being like, okay, that was horrible, like record low amount of quarry caught. And so they probably did find a better location, right? Now, that said, and I understand where you guys are coming from, where you live out east. And when you come west, you want to catch some freaking jackrabbits. I get that, right? You guys don't have access to jacks. And so you want to do that. So that will be important, right? But it's not everything.
Yeah.
It's mostly about the camaraderie. You guys could bank a whole bunch of episodes. You could meet a whole bunch of cool people. You know what I mean? You could meet the reigning, defending, undisputed world Sky Trials champion. You know what I mean? You could meet that guy. That would be cool.
Yeah. That'd be cool,
Chingren's gonna be there?
What's that? I heard
cool.
he's going to show up. He might make an appearance.
The Chinny Chin Chingren himself?
Ah, wow.
He's going to be
Barely. There? I don't know if that's nepotism, dog, because like he's got a lot of those dubs. And he kind of does run the thing. So, and he has 3 Sky Trial birds. That's insane. And all they do is to run it back to our first topic. Mine is a hunting bird. We hunt. And
it's a flex. That's definitely a flex.
That's 100%, dude. I will flex that. I game hawked that bird. He wasn't no Sky Trials bird. You know what's funny? Interestingly enough, obviously this name holds a little online value, whether for bad or worse. My main peregrine hawking buddy out here is Carl Kirster. Great. Oh, you don't know about him? Okay, he's a West Coast guy.
The name sounds familiar.
He's very famous. He's very famous on the meme group.
Yes. So yes, he's extremely eccentric.
In the meme group, the cesspool.
The meme group that was, for your listeners, started about me because I started the original falconry meme group.
Really?
Yeah.
You want to talk about it?
Oh, I mean, I barely remember it now.
Casey.
Oh, that guy? Oh, Mr. Yeah, he knows. I heard that he knows everything there is to know about anything. No, he's a nice guy. He's giving me some advice, and his advice was actually sound. So I was like, hey, listen.
Yeah.
You're right.
He's super unique. The thing is, he's so smart that he gets in his own way, kind of a thing, which I get. I'm like that. I'm such a jokester. Like, I can't not make a joke that I get in my own way. So, like, I get it.
You're just so smart. You get in your own way.
That's a thing. And I'm not flexing that at all. It's like,
me and Casey.
What is it? Cut off your nose to spite your face. You know what I mean? You like, a guy has to be right about anything. Anyway, he kept almost berating me, dude. You need to enter that bird in the Sky Trials first year. Yeah. So this is a guy who's flown 20. He is a Tercel peregrine expert. That is what he's flown the most of out of anything besides Aplamados. He goes, dude, you have to enter that bird in the Sky Trials. I'm like, whatever, dude. I'm not going to just fly him on pigeons for 3 months. He goes, no, you just game hawk it and then go and enter it. I'm like, yeah, whatever. Year goes by, the bird's brown year. Next year, molts out. Dude, you got to enter that bird in the Sky Trials, like beginning of the season. I'm like, dude, I don't want to just like fly him on pigeons, blah, blah, blah. You don't have to. I'm telling you, he's going to do amazing. You just keep hawking him right up until the meet and fly him. And sure enough, I did it.
Yeah.
And I won.
Yeah, that's amazing. Now, did you beat Chingren?
No, Shingren doesn't. He is in the Utah one.
Oh, so now listen, if you next year you have to go to the Utah one and challenge.
Dude,
you
I
have
don't want
to
beat up. I don't want to smoke some old man, like in the twilight of his life. He needs to let him.
It's like me arm wrestling a girl. I've got nothing to gain from it. You know,
that's what I'm saying, bro. You know what I mean? He's got his 3 Sky Trial Gyr Peregrine hybrids that he flies. We'll just let him. We'll let him win. 10 more years of them giving him the trophy. And then eventually he was like, all right, I'm hanging it up. Then I'll go and I'll, start my own dynasty.
No, but that's cowardly. You have to challenge. You have to challenge him head on.
Old bull.
You have to challenge the bull, and you have to remove him from the herd. This is nature. You have to.
Dude. Cutthroat. Cutthroat.
No, I think it'd be fun if you went.
Shootout. That's it. You do a shootout at NAFA. You versus him. Did he win the Utah one this year?
He did, yeah.
Dude,
so
you guys should do it for the undisputed.
That would be pretty sweet.
That would be cool.
I mean, in all honesty, we have to meet on equal ground, though. But the thing, dude, I don't know. 3. So I have my 1 falcon that I just game hawk. And he has 3 that.
Bunch of excuses I'm hearing here. I don't like
whatever, dude.
I don't like it.
Where's my belt? Babe, get the belt. Bring the belt over here.
Hey,
there is no babe.
Bring my belt.
There is no toots.
You should have commissioned like a wrestling championship belt that you walk around with.
Hang the belt. I need to make one. I do get to make.
Aaron, how much do we have in the podcast account?
I don't know, like 10, 25,000 or something like that.
I heard it was 30. We should get the belts made, send one to Chinny Chingren, send one to Chris, and then we go out there and we orchestrate the whole thing and film the whole thing and make it like a big spectacle.
That would be hilarious.
We'll do like a face off with them. It'd be great with the belts over their shoulder.
A face off with our birds, dude.
Yeah. Dude, I'm dead serious. It'd be so fun. Chingren likes that stuff though. He loves all that.
Does he? I love Chingren, dude.
He likes that stuff.
Fangirled. So at this Merlin meet a few years ago, I they have raffles, right? And I won his book, and he showed up. And I'm like, oh no way! Can you sign my book?
Dude, that book is sweet, man.
What's that?
That book got my attention.
The Hawking of Sage Grouse. It's a sweet book.
It is.
I've got it right over here.
Book. Beautiful pictures. The stories are captivating. It is incredible.
Yeah, man.
Pictures?
Oh yeah, Casey's got pictures.
I can't sit and read. I just can't do that.
I don't do words. Word big, too hard for dumb.
To me to read.
That's why he's a goss hawker. Yeah,
that's right. Straight to the point.
That's why he never accelerated past some stupid long-tailed wood freak. You got to
fly him first to hate him. Come on.
I know.
Chris,
I do.
You need to.
I can't keep one alive long enough. Nobody around me has birds that are alive. It's just like, oh, they die.
They die, but they all die. They eventually do something, especially if you're flying.
Casey, they live by the sword and die by the sword, right?
Mm-hmm. Hey, that reminds me of something.
Yeah, we'll talk about that later.
We'll talk about that later.
I got a question for you.
Yes, sir.
For those of us who are not long wingers, let's say somebody finds himself in a place where they could fly a long wing. What would you recommend for somebody's first long wing for that real long wing experience?
So if you're in a good enough area, so obviously the most important thing with all falconry, and if you're a falconer and you listen to this, you know this, is what quarry do you have? That's the most important thing. If you have quarry to pick from, as crazy as this might sound to somebody who's not into it or in it, a passage peregrine. That's the best first thing to start with. They are like the red tails, so to speak, of long wings, in that they are so forgiving. They already know how to hunt. They're the most flown bird probably of all human history. the peregrine falcon. And the unfortunate thing, is that we almost drove them to extinction. And so their numbers are kind of still rebounding to the point where like we can't, an apprentice in most states can't just trap a peregrine as their first bird. One of my buddy's apprentices has shown inclination to just fly falcons over hawks. And it's Joseph Bravang Van Kam. It's one of his apprentices. And so since he's an amazing hunter, this guy, he's like a big game guide. You know what I mean? Hey, Casey, jiu-jitsu black belt, this guy.
I like this guy.
Yeah, dude, right. He's awesome.
Continue.
Right?
Yeah.
And so it'll be fun to see his journey. His first bird is actually going to be a passage prairie, which I would not recommend. But because like they are hard, they're evil, mean as sin. They bite the hell out of you.
I heard they're the Cooper's Hawks of the long wing world.
Sounds like that's what I need then.
Yeah, because Aaron Cooper's Hawks are the easiest bird that Aaron ever flew.
Really?
No, it's a whole theory that I've heard somebody else say, and I've actually heard it multiple times, that like prairie falcons and Cooper's Hawks, it's like out of every 10 you trap, you'll get like one or two that are like good.
A dream.
And it's a really good bird. And then the rest are just like a mess. But I don't know. I've never flown either. Well, I flew with Coops for like 2 seconds, but
what do you guys think is behind the psychology of a prairie falcon that makes them like that?
Honestly, getting beat up by peregrines and eagles. So the only reason that the prairie falcon exists as a species and has its niche is because it lives in places that are so terrible that peregrines don't want to live there. Every other place that's good enough for a falcon to live in, a peregrine will move in and chase the prairies out. That's real.
So they're
prairies live in. Their peregrines are faster, and that's the main thing. They're bigger too. Male to male, female to female. They're bigger. So they're bigger and they're faster. That means that prairies get chased out. You go live in the desert, scrub, chewing on rocks, scraping lizards and freaking rats off the ground. They literally do eat lizards and like rodents.
No, yeah, that's why they're so cool. They're so gritty. They'll kill rabbits. Gritty. They'll kill they'll kill like pretty much anything that they think they can kill. They will try to kill. Yes. And I heard that there is no bird ever that hits harder than a prairie falcon. That's what I've heard.
This is true, and so that's part of it. Is that there's a lot of lore behind that. Interestingly enough, in that because most prairies are so terrible, you have to cut them so far down to get them to fly that they're starving, and that's why they hit so hard. Like I've heard that as a theory. Yeah, exactly. I've heard that is a theory, but that is kind of a well-known fact that nothing will hit harder than a prairie. Yeah, and I've even heard like people like that put prairie into different stuff, and it hit it just hits harder now, regardless of weight. Like even chamber birds and stuff. It's like a peregrine prairie, and they just like smash stuff. It's just in them to do that. I don't know. Like this is not my thing, obviously. Yeah, but it also makes them a little crazy. If I'm being honest. Like Deer Prairie is like one of a well-known psycho hybrid that nobody.
They're beautiful though.
They are so pretty. Yes, they are stunning. But I've flown one, and she was a misprint, but she like climbed up my leg on multiple occasions. It's crazy.
So when it comes to passage peregrines for a first long wing, is there a preference to male to female?
So obviously, there is, so to speak, a preference in that males, and most people would agree. Like if you like flying, this is a general statement. If you like flying falcons, most people like flying males because of everything that we've talked about already. They're more stylish. They go higher. Also more loyal too. That's what I kind of heard. More loyal.
Shit. Yeah. Well, that makes all the sense in the world, right, fellas?
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about.
Boys. They're one of the boys. No, but the thing is, Similarly with merlins, if I don't know if you are, Casey, how much trapping you've done.
He's a big
in certain
merlin
areas,
guy.
you almost always find more females than you do males.
You know what's funny is that's the exact opposite with
reds.
Buteos.
Yep, exactly. You find way more males, right? And that's what you don't want. That's the thing. You want the female.
I want the
and then
big
falcons, you want the male
with big feet.
Exactly. Well, the thing is with tiercels, they get the short end of the stick in all the best hunting spots. So the big, open, pronounced, obvious spots to find the falcons. Oh, look, there's one. It's a female. Same thing with merlins. Same thing with peregrines, right? Now, I don't know how ridge trapping and like that sort of stuff goes. Hey, you've beach trapped. What is your experience with like beach trapping peregrines?
Beach trapping peregrines is tricky. I don't know much about it. I mean, I trapped my own. Me and Bill Brown trapped them together on a starling.
Nice.
Trapped her together. And if you hit it in the right time.
Yep. See?
It was her. And she was, she wasn't loyal, bro. She was out.
These hoes ain't
girls ain't loyal. Yeah, she literally just, like she lost sight of me. It was a whole thing. And I told the story already on John's show. Yeah. So don't go listen to it because it's embarrassing. But it happened. We all make mistakes. But yeah, like as soon as she was like out of sight, like she just bounced. And I've heard that like tiercels, like once they know what you're about, they'll just like come looking for you and stuff.
They do in all honesty. And so I have not flown a passage peregrine, but I've been with many people who have, right? This is a thing, right? You trap them early. You get them sort of young compared to like trapping a red tail that you can trap in August, December, and October and blah, blah. You get them in those late summer months. And a hard and fast rule is you sit them the whole month of October. Because if you fly them, they will migrate.
Yep, that's what I heard. That's exactly what I heard too. And they have especially like the tundras that we're trapping.
Yep.
It's like they have this extremely intense desire to like migrate, and like people will lose them in the beginning of the hawking season, then they lose them in the end of the hawking season. Like they'll take off. Like my bird literally, we chase it just straight south down the coast.
Oh,
literally for like 3 days. Like she literally lost sight of me. And by the end of the day, we were 6 hours south, still following the transmitter. So
the reason I said passage peregrine is because if you screw it up, you can always fatten it up and let it go. But a way around that is a chamber raised bird. Now, that takes a whole lot more expertise than a passage falcon is, because you literally have to teach that bird how to fly and how to kill. And it's a lot harder with falcons than it is with hawks, because hawks are a little bit down the pole on what their thinking ability, right? It's kind of just instinctual. Rabbit, I smash, and they just fall on the rabbit. Right?
That's disrespectful. Typical long winger disrespecting us. Typical.
Gotta live up to
looking his nose down on us, this guy.
Nah, nose up. I'm looking down my nose at you filthy short wingers scraping through the mud and the briars while I'm out in the open field with my head held high and my bird even higher.
That's so stupid. But yeah, it's true. And my experience with the one peregrine I flew, it was the calmest, most tranquil experience of my life. Like I literally got home from the beach, unhooded it on my couch, and with a quail on my glove, and it bent down and started eating that night.
The way she goes,
not even
baby.
low, not even nothing. I stood up and I was walking slowly around. It was dark and it was a darkened room. I do things the right way. I like to keep everything calm. I'm not going to
you calm.
Well, listen, when I need to do things, see, Chris knows I got a problem. Aaron's a counselor, so Aaron's been counseling.
No way. That's why he's so calm. And Chris, and how did that passage peregrine make you feel?
yeah. No, it was very like depressing, and I was embarrassed, but like that bird was like, in terms of getting it going, it was the easiest bird I've ever dealt with in my life. Yep. Like literally, the only reason why I didn't cut the credence off is because people were scaring me that it's going to take off on me. because it was coming to the lure in like 10 days or something.
Yeah.
Like outside. Like he was eating unhooded back on the beach the next weekend because another guy had a permit in Jersey and he's like, well, can you come? And I'm like, well, I got the bird. And no one's so he's like, just bring the bird. So I had the bird in the blind on a block perch next to us. And when it was like a lull, I literally would pick it up, unhood it, and it would eat a quail, and I would rehood it like a charm and just put it back on the like it was like the easiest thing ever.
Nice.
And it knew how to kill, and it knew how it's just like like you said, it just takes so much stress off you.
It is,
you know,
it is nice.
But I still ruined it.
And so you add the stress back onto yourself in with like a chamber bird in that not so much stress. It's more just like, gosh, and I have a new peregrine and I'm about to get a new Giaramato, Giar-Apamato hybrid that we can talk about if you like. The time, dude, I'm hoarding pigeons right now because they take so many pigeons to learn how to hunt properly. That's just the name of the game. You have to teach them so think about a wild bird. It's going to get 20 flights, if not more, on wild birds every single day, practicing and honing its flying skills while its parents are still feeding it. You get to do like one a day. That's it. So you need so many freaking pigeons. And that's kind of the arduous, long process of a chamber raised falcon is you have to teach them how to hunt. And that does take forever. But kids, if you're listening, if you do that properly, you could win the Sky Trials someday. I'm just saying.
If you listen,
I mean, but that's any bird though. I mean, you know, a goshawk, like it's a pain in the neck to get them going. Yep. Like they'll kill little stuff here, you know, but like to get them to like chase down a rabbit and catch it, even a big female, it takes like 50 slips to get the thing to catch a rabbit running full tilt through a field. Like it takes a lot of effort. And even harris-hawks too. I don't know this, but I've heard that a chamber harris-hawk still takes a decent amount of effort to get it going. Chris is making a face.
It helps if you have a made one. If you have a made harris-hawk, they'll learn very quickly. But Chris,
sort of. I would actually recommend not making them actually with a made bird. I would recommend entering them by themselves. Interestingly enough, because I heard this early, I've never experienced this, but I hear that you could basically lose an entire first year with a juvenile bird if you only fly an adult because they will just let the adult do the work, which is kind of what happens in the wild, right? They're with their family unit. The the babies are just waddling around on the ground, blushing. And the adults are doing the catching. You can lose an entire year with a bird where it's not going to be catching. It's just going to be lying back and, you know, just barely following the adults as they hunt. And so this is another area that I can speak on because I've flown many, many harris-hawks, is that you make a new bird by itself first. And once it's caught a certain amount, then you bring others into the mix and then they all work together.
That actually makes a lot of sense. And the same thing for dogs too. Like I don't like running if I got a puppy. Like Franny is nowhere near as good as Ginger was because I was busy and I don't have time. So I would just grab Ginger and Franny and throw them and we'd go hawking. So then like Franny would like spend like the first like majority of the first season just like following Ginger around. And then she would do her own thing a little bit. But when you run them separate, like you said, then like when you put them back together, now like Ginger's doing her thing and Franny's like doing her own thing. She's like, I already know what's going on. I'm trying to do my own thing. And there's not like this reliance thing. So that makes perfect logical sense, what you're saying. You know?
I wonder if that's different between the sexes because with my two terriers, I don't have that problem.
Well, they don't hunt. So that's part of it too.
They don't hunt. I mean, that's just a bold-faced lie.
Like, that's a damn lie.
That's crazy. You know, I've probably killed over 1,000 head over these two dogs. To be honest with you,
I believe it.
The squirrels and the birds.
What
and
kind
the
of
squirrels
terriers
and the birds
do you
and
have?
the jacks.
He's got the best terriers.
Deckers.
What are they?
Two of the best Decker rat terriers.
Interesting. Those are very popular on the East Coast. I think you're the first person I've talked to on the West Coast with them.
Well, I am from the East. This is Vidal. She's just a little baby. Not really. She's a mom of 3 litters, but she's just my baby.
You can tell she's an old gal. Yeah, I've got a Patterdale now. Patterdale pup.
Put your ears up.
Show
them
using
your
her for
big,
hawking, though.
Your big ears. Okay, get out of here. Sorry for waking you up.
There's mixed reviews on Decker Terriers, Chris. What's your thoughts on that?
It depends on what you need them for, right? I love them in that they have an off switch, which Yags do not. Now, they will never have the heights of psychotic murder at all costs that Yags have. But they have an off switch. I can trust them with my birds. You cannot trust Yags with birds. You hear that all the time. This isn't just a shit on Yag sesh, but that's the other big terrier out right now. You know what I mean? Just today, I'm training the new peregrine on the floor, on the lure, right? Third day on the lure on the floor. And I have to beg my male to come close because he knows to stay away from the birds, right? Like I don't go near the birds. That's his thing. Interestingly enough. Hands down best squirrel dogs for falconry. Because of their combination of their big ears and their eyes. Now, there are better squirrel dogs for sure. Like feists and curs, right? They're better squirrel dogs, but they will run and leave you and go hunt squirrels, whereas these don't leave you. They have that teenage phase where they run off, but they get over it. They have incredible vision and hearing, which allows them to track the squirrels through the treetops. And so, like, I'll die on that hill that they're the best squirrel dogs for falconry.
You know what you're saying about them compared to feists is the way we kind of view beagles and dachshunds for rabbits. Like, I think beagles are a better rabbit dog than a dachshund.
Yeah,
but not for falconry.
Yeah, 100% agree because they're gone. You know what I mean?
It depends where you're hunting. If you want to just like put your red tail up, cut your beagles loose, and then just follow the noise till you get to the kill, then that's fine. Yep. And that's completely fine. And that happens with dachshunds too. But like what Chris is saying, if you want to be part of the hunt, I don't need a dog that's like 10 miles away from me.
Yeah.
Unless it's a pointing dog that's going to stand there and point until I get there to be part of the hunt.
Bro,
then it makes sense.
Honestly, even that I'm not into. So that's why I mentioned earlier that when I get a pointing breed, it's going to be a Vizsla, because that Vizsla is not going to be a 1,500-yard dog, you know, like a setter or an English pointer is going to be. I'm not in Montana. You know what I mean? Like I'm not in Wyoming hunting prairie grouse where I need a dog that's going to cover 5 miles before it hits the point. You know what I mean? Where I am out here, I'm in pretty tight quarters, and a Vizsla stays pretty tight, you know, when they need to, right? Where a setter is just going to blow through those birds because it's a big, you know, they're big runners. And so that's just not my breed.
That's a good assessment. Yeah, I don't have any real opinion either way about Deckers. I just, you just hear some people say that they're useless, and then some people say that it's like the best dog they ever had.
Yeah.
Everybody seems to agree that they don't necessarily have the best nose. I
mean, they're a terrier. They're not supposed to have the best nose.
Right. Yeah. Which makes perfect sense. But
terriers were originally kill dogs, right? That was their goal. And they're great kill dogs. We have killed some coons. You know what I mean? Let me tell you.
I may or may not have seen some of those alleged videos that you leaked to me, which were extremely entertaining, but not social media approved.
Oh gosh,
those are epic. Yeah, they can kill a coon. That's for sure. Those dogs.
And if any cat is left outside where it's not supposed to be, it is not safe.
Good. Hallelujah. Kill them all.
They're amazing rabbit dogs to their to where they're capped out at, right? The nose, right? They can't follow a rabbit trail like a beagle or a dachshund. That's not what they're made for, and I don't expect them to do that. If I'm hunting rabbits, as rarely as I do, if a rabbit runs, they'll lose the trail. They're okay at it, but they're not like if you have a bunch of stat bars, they're not the highest rabbit hunter. I've caught a pile of jacks over them. In all honesty, probably better jackrabbit dogs than cottontail dogs because they're decently long-legged. Well, so my male is big for the breed. My female is small for the breed. So that might be a part is that of why I caught a lot of jacks over him because he's pretty long-legged and he can keep them moving as the hawks come in. Obviously, there's better dogs for jacks, right? Like sighthounds.
Yeah, that's the big thing about jacks is that if they don't feel the pressure on the ground, they can outmaneuver the bird like pretty easily. So yeah, and Deckers are. Yeah, Jeff was saying that his Decker's like so fast, and it's like
they are,
and it like just rips through the woods chasing squirrels. So like I would see how that chasing jacks, like even if it's not keeping right up with the jack's like, oh shoot, this thing is like fast, like it's after me, and it's just going to keep going, make a mistake, and get nailed. So that makes sense too.
Funny enough, this female was still a puppy, maybe like 16 or 17 weeks old. Her first hunt, this is crazy. First exposure ever, dude. I'm in New Mexico hunting jacks with my Harris Hawks. And let me see. So I think I was going up this hill. Jack flushes. I don't know why my male Decker is not involved. But the female hawk grabs the jack, gets stripped off on a sagebrush. It had rode it for a little bit, but gets stripped off. In the time, right as it got stripped, my little baby terrier on her first ever hunt, and I mean, she's tiny at this point, gets there in time to, right as the hawk gets stripped, latch onto the jackrabbit, dude. And she's getting pulled around by her mouth because the jack probably outweighs her at this point, dude. And then by then, she's getting dragged around. But eventually the hawks come in and get a hold of the jack.
That's awesome.
Oh, yeah, dude. First hunt, bro. First hunt.
Yeah. The terrier thing is nice because they have like I mean, dachshunds to dachshunds. There's lines of dachshunds that are, they'll freaking bite. They'll bite their owner. And then there's like,
Zoidberg bit the shit out of me all the time.
Yeah, Zoidberg is Tyler's old dachshund. That dog was from one of those lines where it would like literally like bite the hand that feeds it. They're just so savage. But most dachshunds are like, they're not like latching onto a full grown jack like the first time you put them in the field. Like it takes time to work them into it. Yeah. And like terriers are just so neat because they just like I said it on another episode. Baby. Yeah, they're for sure kill dogs. I had a friend of mine bring over his Patterdale. I have my puppy from Aaron, and we put a baggie down, and my dog chased it all around, all excited, mouthed it a little bit, and then he puts the terrier down, which is also a puppy, younger than the dachshund, literally just grabs it and just shakes it like to death.
Yep.
And then just like kind of just prances around with it a little bit. And I'm like, that's like as black and white of a difference. Like a dachshund will shake and kill, but it takes some time to get that in them, which is so interesting. And it's, you need both sometimes in the field.
Mm-hmm.
It's all about what you want to do.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's it.
I mean, the terriers, yags, and dachshunds, that's a tale as old as time, right? The dachshunds go in the hole to flush the animal out, and the yags are right there to kill, whatever comes out. That's why they're there.
Bobbery.
That's what they call it. That's what they call it in Europe. These are German dogs.
I think it's a good team.
The Germans.
Yeah, I wonder what the German word is for it.
Chris.
What'd you say, Chris?
That was good, Chris.
The humans from Deutschland know how to get the job done. Very cleanly and efficiently.
That they do.
That's very good.
Words, we only mince rabbits.
That's very good. I'm going to clip that. That's a good one. That's a good one.
Oh my gosh.
Good dogs all around. You name a dog there and they it's good at the job it does.
Honestly, they are efficient. The Germans are efficient.
Herding dogs, hunting dogs, whatever.
Yep.
So you had mentioned earlier you're working with a new bird.
Yep.
Before we get on that subject, because you were mentioning we'd mentioned pigeons many times throughout here. mad respect to pigeons, right? Until you've seen a falcon chasing a pigeon.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, pigeons are so
First off,
fast.
they're the reason why I have a company and like an income. Shout out to pigeons. I hope they never leave. But like, dude, a good pigeon should be able, a good healthy pigeon should be able to outfly most falcons most of the time. You know what I mean? Like a big, beefy 3-year-old cock pigeon, bro. Like the freaking breasts on these things are just as big as like a peregrine's. Yeah, dude. Like 100% shout out to pigeons, man. That's why we're able to fly our falcons the way that we are. First off, because we have ferals here, and unlike a lot of places in Europe, we're allowed to use them as baggies, right? And to train our birds. Dude, I was reading, I mean, in all honesty, one of the best books on birds of prey called Understanding the Bird of Prey by Dr. Nick Fox.
I was Dr.
like,
Nick Fox.
you know, honestly, bro, I was like, okay, let's see Grandpa, rides this dude so hard. Let's see. It's teaching a falcon to wait on. I'm like, let's see what he has to teach me. The pigeon is not a good way to, and what is he, British? The pigeon is not a good way to teach the bird to wait on me. It will teach them to fly off, which is just like patently untrue. I was like, oh yeah, this dude's British. They don't believe in baggies.
But isn't that like the ancient technique before drones and kites and balloons to when your bird is out of position? No, when your bird's out of position, you release a strong flyer to show them that you are not in position, you missed it. Then when they are in position, you release the bad flyer so that they can make a kill and realize 100%. If I stay here, I will be successful.
That's like a tale as old as time, brother.
That's like the caveman version of drones and kites and stuff.
Exactly.
Okay, yeah.
That's 100%, dude. And so that is just like him leaning into their, what they've kind of been brought up to believe, that baggies are, in poor sport, but they'll use 100 hounds to catch one fox. Don't talk to me about sport.
Yeah. And then cheerio.
Kidding, Dr. Nick Fox. If you ever
I'm actually in contact with him to come on the show. Like literally, but
sorry, sir. I don't. Apologies.
Yeah,
Your book is incredible. I love all the rest of it. I think you're dead wrong on use of baggies and pigeons.
Okay, well,
we'll ask him about that.
We'll ask him about that when he comes on. If he comes on, he's giving me the slip. This guy, he's a slippery guy. I'm trying to get my hands on him.
Slippery fella.
He's a slippery one.
It's like a powerful cock pigeon. You can't catch.
Yeah.
Oh yes,
can't catch him.
Powerful cock pigeon.
Yeah, dude. When non-falconers would just make the assumption that pigeons are like, that's got to be super easy, but
it's crazy.
Yeah, on a level flight, is there anything that can catch a pigeon on a level flight?
Yeah, so Gyr hybrids can, and Gyrs.
Perfect transition, Gyr Aplomatos. That's what you do. You own that, or right now?
I'm about to. I'm picking up a female on Monday. A brand new chamber bird. A dude, I don't even remember his name. Like a guy I'd never heard of. In East Idaho. What's his name? He had like a fake name. Like Rusty Jones or something. Like it sounds like a fake name. But anyway, I've never met this guy. But a lady who is well respected say, hey, who posted them, and then a friend of mine saw that post and said, hey, you've been asking about this for like 2 years trying to get one. And I'm like, yes, finally. I would have rather flown a male. Obviously, I'm a male falcon till I die kind of guy. But all he had was a female left. And this is for the business. So this will be kind of an interesting transition as well, from the hawking side of things. And this is for the business. I work at one of my contracts is a power plant that has thank you very much, one of the worst pigeon problems I've ever seen when I first got there. Over 500 pigeons at this one plant. It was insane. I mean, in all honesty, probably upward of 1,000 pigeons. You never see them all at once, right? Because Some of them are off feeding. Some of them are getting water. Some of them are in the guts of the plant. They're not all flying at once. But so all I had when I first started this contract, it was like me, my abatement, and a Harris hawk. Like it was like when I first started this business, right? It's just us against the world. And so my smaller than average, unfortunately, female abatement ended up being like the star of the show out there, catching multiples every time we were out. And so we're just starting to rack up the pigeons, which was super nice. No, not even trapping. Her and I have caught over 100 pigeons there just with us. And with trapping, that number triples. But, you know, with this being a big, tall power plant, I'm able to get a couple stories up and watch these flights. So it makes them freaking awesome because I get to see these flights go all over this several acre property in the plant through the guts of the machinery and all this stuff. But what I started noticing is that with her, this could be her just being a slightly smaller than average female abatement. She would lose about 50% of the pigeons that she actually touched. And so over these years, I've been trying to, since I've had this contract, get some sort of abatement hybrid. Because I tried to fly Flaming Dragon, my beloved Tiercel peregrine there, but these pigeons have to deal with wild falcons. It's in the middle of nowhere, this power plant. They have to deal with wild falcons all the time. So they know exactly what to do, which is fly into the guts of the plant, because a peregrine is not going to go to cover. That is not what they do. They catch their birds and they keep on going. That's their style. You know, we change things up quite a bit to fly them in falconry, in that most of the time they're eating right there on the ground, which is not what they like to do. So I needed either an oplo or an oplo hybrid that is going to tail chase them into the machinery and catch them there. And so for the longest time, I was trying to get hold of a peregrine oplo to add a little bit of speed and size, just a little bit. But I knew that having flown multiple Gyr aplamatos, that could be a possibility in the future. I wanted to lean more towards peregrine because they would be a little more heat tolerant than a half Gyr, right? It gets decently hot here. But I'm able to, fly very, very early in the day, so it's not terrible if it's not a super bad summer, which we have every so often, where it's pretty dang hot. But the rest of the year, it's not too bad if I'm flying in the morning. So finally getting a hold of another Gyr aplamato. I'm super excited to fly one. Basically, it is it's the tail chasingest son of a gun you've ever met in your life. And to Casey's point, that is not what most people want in a falcon. And fair enough. And like for a hunting bird for me now, I don't want that either. I've fallen in love with waiting on falcon right over my head, screaming in at over 100 miles an hour. And if it misses or the quarry gets away, he goes right back up. He doesn't tail chase to an extent. We're flying decently close to some sort of cover. A small amount that these birds can get away in. But with this very unique work situation that I have on long-term contract, I'm needing a bird that is going to dog these pigeons into the ground till it catches them, that is willing to go to cover. And in all honesty, Gyr aplamatos are the perfect thing for that. My first Tiercel that I flew, what is it now? 2017 or something like that. I didn't know my ass from third base as far as long wings are concerned. As far as the pinky up, chin held high in the air version of flying long wings. And in all honesty, I had seen Mike Siamantre's female aplamato catching desert bunnies out there in Albuquerque. Like, dude, I want to do that. And I bet it would be even better because she would drop a lot of rabbits, interestingly enough, just like these pigeons. I'm like, I wonder if it would be even better with a Gyr oplo because they're half Gyr and they're bigger. Well, so I spent some time. I would get off work. This is how good a Harris hawk is, Casey. I would get off work, fly home, get my Giroplo, get my Tiercel Harris, go to a bunny spot, catch a bunny, rip my poor male Harris off. Get out of here. Shut up. Like before he would kill the poor thing, go eat the lure. Shove it in my bag, right? And like, all right, shut up. Get back in your box. Yeah. Good job. Beat him up. And hope this poor rabbit is alive enough that I could throw it for my Giroplo. And he did decent. He chased the heck out of a few bunnies. But when the first doves started fledging of the year, he caught a young dove and he never looked at another rabbit again, which was like a little heartbreaking for me. Except that then we started hunting doves and it was so much fun. Now, it was not anywhere close to a highfalutin, proper flight of a peregrine. It wasn't that at all. I would release him off the fist. This is crazy to think and say, looking back. He would go sit on a pole.
Yeah.
And I would go out and like flush, or he would see coming over a dove, decide, all right, that's the dove I'm killing, and would tail chase it into the ground until it was so its will was broken or it was so tired that it had to go to ground, and then he would catch it. And I didn't know any better. I thought that was the coolest thing I'd ever seen. Dude, it was great. Nothing could get away from him. He had no stop.
It does
Like,
sound
there was
how that
no
must feel
quit.
to be the dove in that situation.
Certain death. If he was on you, he would tail chase you until you broke and said, shit, and tried to go into cover. And then he would smash you in cover or catch you right before the cover.
What was his flight weight? I'm like really curious, like how big he was. Oh, that's
right
like
around
a perfect
500
size. No, that's a nice size.
It's not too bad, right? And so this breeder, is flying a female of his breeding from last year, and she flies around 750. So not too bad.
Good
not
size
too
for
bad,
rabbits.
right?
That's like a
Totally doable for rabbits. Totally.
Oh, definitely doable. That's like a female tundra peregrine.
Exactly.
750. It's like
exactly.
Yeah.
So they have these big old long aplomado tails, right? Which make them crazy cornerers. You know what I mean? They have a big old half gear motor, which makes them faster than just an aplomado. They have the zero quit of an aplomado, the zero quit of a gear, the intelligence of both those species being more intelligent than the average bird. And in all honesty, if you want something that's going to tail chase its quarry to the ends of the earth and never give up, a gear aplomado is the perfect middle ground of size between a full gear, which is crazy, and there's another thing is that, you sneeze on a gear in, any month that ends in Y and it's going to die. They just die, dude, like goshawks. They just die. They want to die. You cross that with half aplomado, they're like one of the hardiest falcons that exists. And you have a bird that can eat pigeon, which is super nice. You take the propensity out of a pure aplomado to be carsick. They get very carsick, very interestingly. For some reason, aplomados just get carsick. You remove that. Pure aplomados hate being hooded for some reason. They hate it. It will ruin your relationship.
Yeah, I heard that too.
It's true. It's real. But in all honesty, they're so imprint or chamber, they become so tame. Both of them tame down that you just don't even need to hood your bird. Like,
yeah, that's what I think it could have been on Mounier's podcast. Somebody was talking about that, how it's like they're like offended by the hood because they just want to be around you and like
exactly. They're parrot-like in their personality. They're amazing. So you lose a lot of that. You are flying a half gear. It does take some know your shitness. Like you do have to know what you're doing because that is a half jeer, and a half jeer of anything is no punk, right? That is not a beginner bird. But once it is, and you are able to spread your wings together, like they are incredible birds. Truly awesome birds.
Yeah, that sounds neat. Like, so dude, I'm just thinking because like if you got one, like would you if you wanted to kill, like let's say you wanted to kill ducks on a pond with one, like would you just like crest the pond like with the bird on the fist and just let it fly it down, or would you like try to get it in the air and then tail chase him down?
So interestingly enough, there was a guy when I was first, dude, you guys know what Nafex is?
I do, yes.
Yeah, Nafex. You remember Nafex, dude? So Nafex, for those who don't know, is the North American Falconers Exchange, which was a forum, an online forum back in the days before Facebook. And when I was a kid, I was in love with aplamados because of how they looked. They're stunning. They're amazing, right? They're so pretty. And then even as a young lad, I was hearing about crosses, right? And some of the first guys to fly Gyr aplamados was this guy, John Arendt, out of Dallas. And he tried to teach it like a proper falcon, waiting on long wing. And it would. And it ended up doing it. And it was a female, interestingly enough. But instead of a stoop waiting on over the pond, it would go into a tail chase is the thing. But with the heightened speed and just doggedness, like it would end up tail chasing and catching ducks. And ideally, now people have hunted them off the fist like a goss because they have such a long tail. They have a lot of immediate lift like a goshawk does, right? Like kind of like a merlin can basically stand on his tail and fly straight up. They have that as well, and they have big old wings. So they have a pretty decent jump, like a pretty decent, right? Nothing close to a goss, right? There's nothing that can beat a goss. If you were going to do ducks, I'm not so sure. I'm not a duck hawker. I'm not an experienced duck guy.
I'm just thinking like if you're in a good place and it's wide open and like that thing's not going to quit and it's fast, like it might be a nice flight. I mean, you won't see a lot of it, but it'd be a nice flight to just watch that thing just fly that sucker down and just overtake it.
Interestingly enough, so close to me, there's that preserve, that duck preserve that I talked about. Well, attached to it is a preserve that, I kid you not. So a few years ago, my best Jack Merlin, I molted him out this first year on a perch inside. Second year, I wanted to molt him out outside in a chamber, right? Let him be able to spread his wings over the summer, and put him in there. I'm like, yeah, this is a good chamber. This is definitely Merlin proof. I come inside to get his food. I go outside to throw him his food, and he's already fat. He immediately finds the one spot in the chamber that somehow I missed. It's not a wooden enclosed chamber. It's different. And gets out. Immediately. And leaves, flies up to a tree. I'm like, well, I was thinking about flying a peregrine this year. I think I'm going to do that.
You never got him back, just wanted nothing to do with it.
So, yep, flies off. 2 weeks go by. A buddy of mine sends me a picture like, hey, this looks like your bird. I'm like, what? It's over at that nature preserve, like 3 miles that way. I'm like, no way. All right, I'm going to try and go trap him. I would get there as early as I thought I could get there. And this is typical with Merlins. They catch their first sparrow of the day at the very first specks of light that you could possibly see. They're already out hunting, and they usually catch their first sparrow before the sun has risen. He was doing that every time. Now, I say all that to self-deprecate a little bit. I'm a dumbass who lost a Merlin, my best Merlin. And at this preserve, apart from the duck marsh, was this other marshy area that's just like rolling blackberry, where the air was silent but deafening. You can understand that phrase. With more rooster pheasant calls than I've ever heard in my entire life. There was no silence. There was only the sound of that cluck that they do.
That was a recording, everybody. That wasn't Chris making that noise perfpely.
That's the autism, baby. I didn't get the math autism. Good. I got the bird autism.
Have you ever been in a red-winged blackbird roost? It's like the same thing.
Yeah.
It's like you can't.
See, what did I say? I can make anything.
Yeah, you're good. That was good.
Please. Yeah, it's insane. So it's this weird nature preserve that like hunting is allowed, but guns are like weird in a certain area. So what do I hear? Hunting's allowed. I don't have a gun. I do have guns. 750 gram bird that will tail chase things to the end of the earth.
Perfect. Get in there.
You know what I'm saying? Come on, dude.
Preserves are a weird thing.
They are weird because
when I hear of a preserve, I just think it's preserved for falconers.
Exactly, dog. That's what I'm saying.
Rabbit preserve.
Yeah.
Rabbit preserve. So I have these two terriers, right? And like I said, rolling blackberries, which sucks. Blackberries suck. But fortunately, I've got terriers that are likely to jump in those. It's your friend Chris. It's the reigning, defending, undisputed. I've got two terriers that are willing to jump in those blackberries and flush pheasant for me. So I think, obviously it's going to take a few months to get her in shape and confident, as well as like the pheasant season opening in like October or something. I think I'm going to give it a crack, right?
You definitely should. I would.
Interestingly enough,
YOLO, right?
Because the major point of these of her is pigeons, which means it's not a game species. She doesn't have to go on my abatement permit. She's going to be on my falconry permit, so I can legally. She's going to be used for pigeons work. So she's on the falconry permit because like pigeon abatement isn't considered, like it's not a gull. It's not a native species.
I see.
So it doesn't have to be put on the abatement permit like a crow or a seagull. She's only going to be for that pigeon job.
Sense.
That's the reason she's going to be here for me. So I can use her also for hunting. And I'm going to freaking try pheasants with her, man.
That'd be pretty sweet.
Crack.
Because the only if you were going after native species, so then you'd basically like in the morning you'd have to put her on your abatement license and then take her off your abatement license to go hunt her in the afternoon. Basically, it's weird.
Not possible.
It's so weird with the rules and stuff. But I get it. That's interesting. That sounds like a fascinating bird, and I think that would be, if this bird's just to fly, if you're flying a tear, so to fly doves down in the sky, you can easily fly a pheasant down, a female,
dude. Doves on check, or what are they called? Not on check. It's another phrase for a dove that's for a bird that's just going from one place to another. I can't recall what it is, but he would just like a dove would be flying overhead, and he would just go that one, take off, and just chase it down. It is crazy.
Yeah, that sounds cool.
I love him. And as much as I love that, like I also cannot get enough of like 20 dove slips in a row from a bird that's waiting on. I just love them. Like they're both equal and opposite, but equally awesome. And the same thing with squirrels, right? We had a whole section on freaking squirrel hawking. Best bird quarry there is, bar none. Screw jacks, dude. Miss me with jacks.
Yeah, squirrels are very underrated for 100%. Some reason. It's like they're like you can't be a falconer And even if you don't like squirrel hawking and you think you have all these opinions of it, if you go on a squirrel hunt with somebody's bird that's like on point, everybody's involved in the hunt, like you cannot not have fun. Like it is so
100%. I can't wait. In all honesty, that's one of the reasons why I'm excited to buy a house, so that I can put that female who's caught a couple hundred squirrels up to breed and start another female Harris hawk, dude, because she flies over 1,000 grams. Big, beefy son of a
Harris hawk.
Oh yeah, good Coulson bird.
Yeah, that's a big bird. I didn't know they even got that big.
Oh, dude. Back east, she would fly over 1,100 when it was cold.
Good point. And you could fly them heavier too, I guess, right? Just in general, or is that not a thing? Yeah.
Harris, yeah, because it's not it's kind of got that Aplamato-ish vibe in that, like, they're already pack hunters, they're already group hunters. You can fly them higher than you could a passage redtail, because redtail is like, I'm not hungry. It's just like they just shut off if they're not hungry. No, I give you middle feather. Like, I don't care, right? They're just lizards. You know what I mean?
That was a very good impersonation.
Harris hawk is a thinking man's bird, because they live in a caste that has a structure and a hierarchy. The dominant females, subordinate males, and then subordinate females, and then younger males. So they have to be able to think through these situations.
Casey, I saw some comments on Facebook about the podcast.
Oh yeah,
and they were a valued listener of the show was saying something about how we don't respect him because he flies Harris hawks.
Well, that's not true.
It was me.
No, you're not a listener of the show.
Yeah, clearly,
this guy actually listens.
Oh, I gotta start hopping in.
No, I said it with the episode with what's his name? The guy with the backpack out west. He's friends with Shannon.
Chris.
The guy with the backpack?
I couldn't put. I had brain fog.
Chris did the backpack with like the frame, and he had the perch on it, and he would walk through the desert with the perch on the backpack.
Okay.
Yeah, pretty.
Carrying a T-pole.
Yeah, both are extremely lame, but I understand the functionality of it. But you ain't gonna catch me dead wearing a framed hiking backpack with my bird pooping on my head. But I get the concept of it. But I gave Harris hawks a lot of props in that episode.
Good.
Well, I was just hanging out with our boy Seth Roy, and you know what he said? He said that he thinks that in the right hands, there is not a deadlier hawk in the world than Harris hawks.
I agree, 100%. Like,
ask him to get his test levels checked.
Stem to stern. I think stem to stern, you can catch more with a Harris hawk, because we can get into this. We can get it. I will. We can do it. Casey and I have done this on my pod. Big episode for me.
That was a fun one, dude. We were like going at it. It was great.
Because you can fly in more places, I think Harris hawks are more well-rounded, and you can catch more with a Harris hawk. And also, they live longer. Eventually, the goshawk's just going to die because it saw a pine tree it didn't like, and it's just going to be like, you know what? That's it for me, folks. And it's just going to keel over.
So,
whereas the Harris hawk keeps on living and keeps on killing.
I took a Harris hawk from the Sonoran Desert in Arizona, brought it to North Carolina, and it got to hunting squirrels so quicker than any bird I've ever seen. And it had, we're talking literally the Sonoran Desert. And it just started laddering up and, chasing the squirrel around the tree. It got to it like it had been doing it its whole life. And there's no way it had ever seen a squirrel.
That's, You know what, Aaron?
It's like being so ridiculous.
I am not surprised. Yeah,
listen, if you want to ride a bicycle with training wheels on it, that's fine. Then enjoy, You're going to get made fun of.
My 1,300 horsepower Hayabusa. And I'm going to ride for 3 weeks before I drive it into a truck.
Yeah, but at least you look cool while you're doing it.
At least when I die in a great ball of fire, people would say, wow, I think he busted his brake line. That's what they'll say about me.
I said
it. Hawkers out there.
No, a Harris hawk is an amazing bird. They're an amazing bird, but you say that they can fly in more places. I highly disagree. Why do you need a framed backpack or a T-pole? You ever see a goshawker with a T-pole? No, because you can fly anywhere, anytime. It does not matter. They're
fly
fast.
A Harris hawk off the fist too if you wanted.
Yeah, and it will catch it 80 yards further than where the goshawk would have caught it.
The reason I use a T-pole is because I fly with multiple birds, because my birds are smart enough to fly in a group and not try and kill each other, because they actually build tight family bonds. And they find a mate and they're like, you know what? If it's not March, I don't want to kill you. Unlike some species, interestingly enough.
Right. Yeah, I mean, listen, if you're that inferior that you need multiple around you to keep each other safe and feed each other, you can't do it on your own, then of course it makes sense that you'd be in a pack hunting together.
Not even the
one goshawk by himself in the wilderness is killing all day long. Slaying.
If a goshawk is alone in the wilderness, how long does it take them before they die?
Probably.
It depends on
if a goshawk is alone in the wilderness, does it fly into the window?
Fly into a window, a branch, a stick, a power line.
Oh my god!
Spontaneously combusts. I mean,
I also appreciate
Harris
hawk feathers. I really appreciate those too.
Yeah.
Shout out to Harris hawk feathers.
I love a good.
Yeah. You know what I do with a Harris hawk feather? I friggin'
It's already brown, so you can't see the shit. Right, that's what Casey says.
Alrighty.
That's what I did. I just did a motion of what I do with a Harris hawk feather.
Now that we're talking about
I said this.
Harris
hold on.
hawk feathers
because you guys just frame me and you're making me look bad. I think that Harris hawks have a place.
Mm-hmm.
I have opinions about Harris hawks, and that's it. And it's not to offend anybody. I just think if you're a first-year general in your 20s, or even any age, I think that going from a red tail to a Harris hawk, that's like you're not challenging yourself. You're not doing it. It's just you got training wheels on. You could do so much. You could build your skills up and then get a Harris hawk.
I understand where you're coming from, and I was stoking the fire because I love having this discussion with you and other goshawkers. Jeff Reddig, like Joe Pravong Viacom has a new Harris right now for work, and he's loves her, and he's gloating over her. And Jeff Reddig gets on him every day about it in our group chat. But I will vehemently disagree with the red-tailed Harris hawk pipeline, because part of it might have been my first red tail. One of its hallexes didn't flex all the way, so I think that severely impacted how much game he caught. But I went that pipeline, flew a Harlan's male for 2 years. We did okay. Got a female Harris hawk, caught over 100 head our first year together.
That's impressive. With any bird, that's impressive.
Rabbits, jacks. We would I was in Dallas at the time. I had just moved to Dallas. And so, dude, I mean, when did I get her? Probably July or something. So I'm hunting in August. But I'm 23? And so I'm everything must die. I don't care that it's 100 degrees out. I have a desert bird. She's fine. We would just like ducks, we would creep over on a ditch and we would snipe doves that way, dude.
That's actually pretty sick.
Yeah, dude.
That is pretty cool. Doves are hard to catch, man. They're really, when they blow off, they're gone, man. They're so
somewhere
fast.
I've got a picture of, it's probably gone by now, but of my first tailgate pick, my first good one. It was 2 rabbits, 2 doves, and I think 2 rats and a lizard. And this was my most proud day up to that point.
Yeah, that's definitely, listen, they're killing machines, man. They're really good at it. It's just the same thing.
Yep.
Fly a female peregrine and she'll kill a bunch of stuff. She'll fight with stuff on the ground. You don't have to worry as much, or you get a tiercel because it looks cooler and it's a little bit more challenging. It's just the same thing. I mean, nobody can argue. And Chris, I don't think you can argue. No. Well, watching a Harris Hawk take off the glove and chase a rabbit versus a goshawk taking off the glove and chase a rabbit, you can't tell me that.
You can't.
A goshawk doesn't look cooler.
They do.
And that's the point.
They do. Oh, it's looking cool. It's looking cool. It's like, you know what? For the time that this thing is alive, it's gonna look super cool.
That's a good point.
And you know what else is gonna look cool? The gravestone that I make for. It's gonna be just as cool.
That's hilarious. And listen, if you referenced our episode that we did together, and I must let the audience know that I told Chris on his show that if he got a goshawk that coming season, I would literally go out and get a Harris Hawk that coming season. And we made an agreement. And guess who didn't pick up the end of their bargain?
I don't think it was I thought it was whenever we do decide to do that. So here's why I haven't already done that is I live in a place right now. There's people that have them, but I don't agree with having a goshawk where I live, dude. It gets hot. Freaking hot here, man.
I completely understand. I mean, people get it done, but it's not the ideal bird for that situation.
No, it's like having that's why I didn't really want a half Jeer Aplamato. Like for the last 3 years, I've been trying to find a peregrine Aplamato because of the hotness, right? But whenever the time does come, I thought the agreement was when we do, like I would, and I still plan to uphold this. I'll keep you updated. Be like, yo, hey, next year's the year. I'm doing it. You know what I mean? I'd probably get I don't know, something.
A fin.
Something 900 to 1,000. That's what I want. I don't want a 1,300 gram monster. I have no need for that. They're not, because the whole point is squirrels for me. I don't give a dang about rabbits.
You'd be hard pressed, honestly, to get a goshawk that weighs that much.
Good.
If you listen to a breeder, they'll tell you it'll be 1,300 grams minimum. But
the mother is 1,900 grams.
The real weight will be 1,000 or 900 to 1,100 tops.
So I want a 900 to 1,000 gram female goss is probably what I would want. You know what I mean?
But Chris, I want to warn you, Casey's not a man of his word. There's no way he would actually do it.
You're out of your mind. I would. If Chris went out and got a goshawk this coming season, find somebody that's got an extra bird and gets it, I would take a drive 20 minutes down the road to Tom's house and grab a Harris Hawk.
But we both got to do fresh. We both got to do freshies.
No, it would be fresh. Tom's got, he's like, dude, nice. You want one? Come and get it.
Okay.
Yeah. Cool. He breeds like probably 30 of them a year or 40 of them a year.
He describes them as the horniest hawk there is.
Yeah.
They are, dude. It's everything. You have to beg them to not breed. My female was tethered to a perch and she laid 3 eggs. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
Breed them tethered.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah. And there's just, okay. We had this argument on the show and I broke it down very concisely for you. And you wouldn't really concede. You kind of conceded a little bit, but it's just what bird requires more to fly?
More?
It's more of everything. It's more maintenance. It takes more skill to fly it. Basically.
For sure.
It flies faster. It's more explosive physically. Everything about it is superior to a Harris Hawk in every way.
I don't know about superior.
They don't get bit. Harris Hawks, I've never seen. I mean, you would know better than me, honestly, but I don't know if Harris Hawks like let go and regrip. I've never heard of that. Goshawks do that nonstop all the time.
Goshawks probably are better. They probably do that more naturally because tree squirrels are natural to them.
Yeah, it's their diet.
It's what they eat. Now, I mean, Harris Hawks probably do it as well because squirrels are natural to them. It's just ground squirrels.
That's a good point. Good point.
That's Harris to ground squirrel is a classic quarry. Usually they're smaller, like the chipmunky ground squirrels, and not so much the rock squirrels that are further north. It's more of those smaller squirrels than anything. But they bite like sin too. Hey, Casey, you caught a chipmunk, dog. They bite.
Oh, I do not want to mess with a chipmunk with my bare hands.
They bite like crazy. Chipmunks are not to be trifled with. That's a clip. Chipmunks are not to be trifled with. Stay away from Alvin, dog.
Yeah.
Alvin and his boys will mess you up. Goshawks are superior in every way. Don't think so. I'm not making a 6-figure income with goshawks. Tell you that much. See that?
Well, that's a good point, but you're not offering any counter argument.
See that white tail? This white tail don't bleed, baby. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
No, it's just like I kind of like continue the whole thing because it's part of the show now.
Of course.
But I definitely respect Harrisawks.
Yeah, I respect.
If I go to a field meet and we got 10 people that need to fly birds and 2 of them got Harrisawks,
they fly last.
They fly last and I leave. I mean, I'll beat brush. I've been in many a field catching stuff with people with their Harrisawks. Yeah. Like they're fun, especially when you got 2 of them or even 3 of them, and everyone's running around chasing squirrels, and they're all going like this. It's so fun. Like fun. It is a blast.
And
like you cannot lie.
That's why I love it, because coming up when I had my permit, not like growing up in falconry, but coming up while permitted, I would see everybody in Louisiana would pull out their birds, and we would all fly, not all fly, but 2, 3, 4 max birds at once on squirrels. Big, tall, old Louisiana trees, you know what I mean? And it was the most fun. So that was like my introduction into falconry as an adult, was seeing that happen. So that's why I love squirrels that much and Harrisawks, because we can all get together, you know what I mean, as a group.
Yeah. And Tom Cullen, he shared the same thing with me. They'd go to the, I'm not going to say the name because people will look it up and know where it is. They go to a very well-known place that there's ducks in the area, fly their long wings. And then after long wings, they grab lunch, and then they go to a wood lot. They'd all cut their Harrisawks loose and have a field day catching rabbits and squirrels. And then they'd all go home. And he remembers that as a kid, that was like every Saturday was like, that was their thing. And they all did it. And it was, so it's like,
having a little fun sounds criminal.
No,
huh?
it's just
long wings and Harrisawks. These are my kind of men.
Listen, it's not falconry as far as Casey's concerned, unless you're in your face with a monster can like Sandman from ECW.
No, I don't. That I will definitely not say that. Harrisawks have their place. If I lived in the desert, I'd have one. And if you live up north where it snows and gets cold, you have no business having a Harrisawk.
That's where I agree. And in all honesty, in our friendly wager, I worry about that a little bit. Like, if Casey flies a Harrisawk, he lives in freaking upstate New York. What are they gonna do?
I'll carry a battery pack, and I'll just get it on the glove and just hit it with a freaking hair dryer like this. Warm it up, warm his little weak ass up.
Yeah, right.
Throw him back up there, dude. Any bird that quits mid hunt because it's cold, dude.
Okay, so
I don't want that bird. What are you kidding me? That's better than a goshawk. I'm cold.
Nah, dude.
They fly back to the truck and literally give up.
Yeah,
that's better.
I don't know about
that.
Bro. Tyler and I have flown our female Harrisawks in the teens and caught squirrels in Missouri.
On average.
On average. Oh,
she beats me back to the truck. It's so lovely. I'm like,
that
beats you back to the truck.
That's annoying.
Your bird beats you back to the truck, dude? My bird's still going, dog. What are you talking about? Beats me back to the truck.
Yeah, you're
still late for dinner?
Facing your bird because it won't come back to you.
No, my birds come back to me. They just grab me by my face. That's the only difference. Yeah.
All right.
Just kidding.
All right, your Skyness. Thank you for your time, dude. This was a 3-hour.
That was epic. A lot of topics covered. A lot of good information. And listen, Chris, you got a lot of experience. I mean, it was a long time, 3 generations. So it was an honor to have you on the show and talk to you about all this stuff. And yeah, man, you get your hands on a goshawk. You finally get your test levels squared away, and you know what's good for you. Then I'll
hilarious.
I told Tom already. Right. I said I'll one day I'm going to get one and fly it just to this.
Watch my peregrines fly. Then you'll say, all right, your test levels are just fine, sir.
No, yeah, long wing hawking is like a whole nother world that we dipped our toe in on this episode, and thank you for that, because Aaron, he's like basically the first trying to think, you're like the first like hardcore like long winger that we've had on the show that we really like. Tom obviously breeds long wings. He has a lot of experience with long wings.
Tom don't know nothing about no long wings.
Yeah. He's gonna write in.
Ooh.
I get like a bullet point thing after every episode, pretty much from Tom.
You know how Tom's legit. He calls them falcons.
Yeah, when anybody says falcon,
that is that's a thing, right? They're old school enough where they say falcons, or old school enough where they call even their falcons their hawk. Like, I'm gonna go fly my hawk today. You know what I mean?
That's classic.
Back when everything was a hawk.
A man and his hawk. Yeah, I like. Yeah,
exactly.
It doesn't matter what it is. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No, you're right, man, and we appreciate it because you gave us a lot of sauce. And listen, man, you're the defending champ of the Sky Trials. Of the California Sky Trials.
Yeah. Undisputed.
Can't argue with that.
Utah was a wash this year, dude. I don't want to hear it. It wasn't
if you
even
don't, next year you must challenge the Chinny Chingrin himself.
Chinny Chin Chingrin? I don't know, man. I mean, I feel like that's elder abuse, you know? It's like Joe Biden is the president. That's
dude,
so mean.
I've heard that he is a very competitive gentleman. And I think that he would do everything in his power to put you in your place. If you are going to be put in your place, but you may push the old bull out. You never know.
The young calf.
The calf, not the calf. What is the line from Step Brothers?
That's what he said. She's had the old bull. Now she wants the young calf. That's why I said it.
Yeah, grabs you by the wiener. Right? That's what he says. Such a stupid movie.
We'll see if I do that. I don't know. We'll see if I enter the Sky Trials again this year. Like, I tried it once and I won. So, like, is there anything more to prove?
You could just retire on top,
dude. You know what I mean?
I tapped a brown belt out in jiu-jitsu.
Did you?
Oh yeah, I did.
Wow.
And it's been like literally like 10 years, and I still remind him on Facebook. And he's like a second degree black belt now in jiu-jitsu.
Like,
and I tapped him out when he was a brown belt, when I was a blue belt. No, he begs me. He literally, when I was still going to the gym, he would beg me
to roll.
Like, come on, and I'd be like, nah, bro, nah, bro, don't even bother, bro. You already lost. And I'm doing what Chris is doing now. But what I really should have done I should have tapped him out again, and then I should have proved the point.
Yeah.
We were rolling for after class, and it was a 15-minute roll till I freaking locked that armbar in. And
15 minutes straight?
It was because it was after class and everybody was standing around watching us. If we just kept going.
That's no pun.
It was freaking ridiculous. Real quick, challenge Chinny Chingrin.
If you want the tea, I was in, I say this because I miss jiu-jitsu so much. I was in Hawaii on a moped heading to my first beach. I'd been there for an hour, rented the moped, drove back to change into my swim trunks, headed to my first beach. I'm in a bike lane coming up to a stoplight, so I'm slowing down. Couple cars at the stoplight. Guy turns right into a parking lot, crossing the bike lane, doesn't see me. Boom, smashes into me. Yep. I tore 2 meniscus, partial ACL tear, and bone contusions on my 2 lower leg bones, and a gang of road rash all over my back. So I've been I was straight up laid up for a month. Like, I couldn't even get out of bed to pee at night. It was too dangerous. And it's going on 3.5 months now. I'm on the peptides. I'm about to go to Texas to get some stem cells shot into it instead of had surgery. But I just say that. I'll just say, man, I miss jiu-jitsu.
Chris is getting paid.
Hey,
he's going to get paid.
And it ain't a goshawk, brother. Let me tell you. It's not a goshawk doing the work.
No, I'm talking about you're going to sue that guy who hit you.
Oh, yeah, the insurance, they're paying for it.
Well, first of all, I'm just going to address the elephant in the room, first of all. If you rent a moped, you deserve to get hit.
I'm in Hawaii,
bro. You want to be in a Vespa. He's got Harris Hawks at home, and he's riding around in a Vespa with a little hat on, a little helmet. Come on.